Hi, welcome back guys. This is your friend, the What If guy, back with another fanfiction. This is the second part of What If Issei Reincarnated Stronger Than Before. Now before starting, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. In an unknown place. My lord, it seems like the current security has become much stronger than we anticipated, said a husky voice. I see. It seems like I might have to deal with him personally, said another husky voice. How about we give the job to that underling of yours, my lord? She seems to be really good with people, asked the first voice. That you have got some brains, Pluto. Call Benia to my place, said the first voice. Of course, Lord Hades, said the second voice, now known as Pluto and the first voice as Hades. Hades is the god of the realm of the dead. He is currently the 10th strongest being in this universe. Even the great Cerzex is afraid of his power. My lord, you called me? Said a feminine voice. She seemed to be a girl who would be in the first year of high school. She had blue hair with some purple accents. Her hair seemed to fall on her face similar to Zenobia, but she also had a long braid at the back. She was wearing a weird elf hat. She wielded a scythe. Her dress was blue and it covered her torso, and barely anything else. Benia, I have called you to ask a favor, said Hades with a nasty grin. What is it, my lord? Asked a curious Benia. Well, I presume you know who the current security is? Asked Hades. Benia's eyes lit up. The Issei dragon. Yes, I am. She was exited. She was a big fan of the Issei dragon. This made Hades and Pluto laugh. Listen. Well, let me be straightforward with you. Your job is to get close to him, started Hades. Before he could even finish, I accept. If it means getting closer to the Issei dragon, I accept it. Benia was excited to meet the Issei dragon in person. Then, I guess I don't have to explain further. Hades laughed. Pluto, please take her to the human world and help her in finding the security. Of course, my lord, bowed Pluto. He escorted Benia out of Hades's room. No one will stand in my way. Not even you, Hayadu Issei. He started laughing maniacally after that. Scene change. Wait. Ika Kiryu just came into the ORC room. These two? Asked Murayama. Yep, Yasuaki Matsuda and Takuru Motohama. Both of them are my bishops, replied Kiryu. Yes, behind her were Matsuda and Motohama. I can't believe Issei kept this a secret from us. That is why he had got tired of watching those DVDs with us. He already got the real thing, said Matsuda. Yes. And now he has gone radio silent, not replying to our texts or answering our calls. I don't think he could be our friend anymore, said Motohama. The ORC gave death stares at them, but later calmed down when they said that he won't be a part of their perverted group anymore. But why them? Asked Akino. Well, both of them possess sacred gears and a high magic reserve. Matsuda, Motohama, please show them, smirked Kiryu. Both Matsuda and Motohama formed a bow. Matsuda's bow was made of dark oak wood with green stripes. Motohama's bow was made of light birch wood and had blue stripes. As both of them pulled back their bow, an arrow appeared on both of their bows. Matsuda's arrow had a green light while Motohama's had a blue one. Staring green and staring blue, said Kiba. Indeed. Although a rather weak sacred gear initially, with training they can get much stronger. And they also seem to be naturally talented at magic, although their reserves are slightly low, said Kiryu. Thank you for your kind words, Kiryu-sama. Both Matsuda and Motohama bowed. Even right now, both of them are stronger than a certain someone. Akino eyed Renjiro. What? No way, I refuse to believe I am weaker than any of these perverts, retorted Renjiro. Fight me, he screamed. Now, Renjiro, you would be wise not to fight them at your current power level, said Irina coldly. If Renjiro wants to fight, then we will, said both Matsuda and Motohama together. They had such good chemistry that even Murayama and Kates could see that they could be really strong in the future. Well then, it's settled. Let's go to the field behind the club, said Kiryu. The ORC and Kiryu, Matsuda and Motohama went to the field behind the club. Matsuda, if you don't mind, I would like you to fight with Renjiro. Motohama had already helped with that stray devil the other day. So this will be your time to shine, said Kiryu. Stray devils? Rias was worried. Don't worry. We took care of them already, said Motohama. Rias was still worried. All right then. Renjiro, I will be your opponent, said Matsuda. I could take both of you on. But if your king insists, Renjiro retorted. Renjiro and Matsuda bowed to each other. Renjiro immediately promoted to bishop and formed a magic circle. Out of the magic circle came a blast spell. Matsuda used a barrier to protect himself. Matsuda formed a bow and pulled back the string. An arrow with a green light appeared. He shot the arrow and it hit Renjiro. Renjiro is unable to battle. Matsuda is the winner, spoke Kiryu with a slight smirk. Yes, Renjiro fell down and fainted from one arrow. That's it? Asked Matsuda. That I want not lose, said Renjiro weakly before fainting. Asia quickly used Twilight Healing on him. Zenobia face-bombed. If you faint from that, what chance do you have against Issei? She sighed. After Asia healed Renjiro, he got up instantly and formed his hand into a fist. I won't lose, he said. The wind around him started bending a bit. I won't lose too. The air around him started shaking violently. I won't lose to A. Even the ORC was shocked at what was happening. I won't lose to a pervert. Renjiro created a massive sphere made of air. Windblade, he shouted. He let go of the sphere. It turned into some sort of a spear. It started cutting through the air. Matsuda was barely able to get out of it. It nicked a bit of his hand and it started bleeding like crazy. The spear hit the barrier, causing it to crack and shatter. Renjiro immediately fainted again. Asia started healing him. Again. The ORC had their jaw hit the ground. An affinity for wind magic, said Kiryu. Matsuda was healing himself and nodding along with Kiryu, and so was Motohama. He has high magic reserves, but he never was able to use it. It seems like his hate for the three perverts fuels his power. If he will be able to control it, wind magic would be a great annoyance for the opponents, said Rias with a thoughtful expression. And I will make sure of it, said Akino while cracking her knuckles. Renjiro was just healed again and he felt like he might faint again just after seeing Akino. I did that? Asked Renjiro. I am just as surprised as you are, said Kiba. Well, it looks like I succeeded in what I wanted to do. So I'll be off, said Kiryu. What do you mean? Asked Rias. Kiryu only smirked. By the way, Kates, I know I asked you to be in my peerage, but I think you would do better in Sona's peerage, said Kiryu. Kates was thinking. Anyways, I'll be off. Kiryu created a magic circle. She, Matsuda, and Motohama teleported to somewhere. Kiryu is right, you know, said another voice. Shinra-senpai. Kates was surprised. We still need a knight and a rook. And by sensing your potential, you would be a better rook than a knight, said Tsubaki, which surprised Kates even further. A rook? But I was always good at sword wielding, she thought. Of course, this is only if you want to be a part of Sona's peerage, said Tsubaki. Kates thought for a while. I accept, she said. She felt a hand on her shoulder. You will do well in her peerage, I am sure of it. It was Murayama. Rias nodded. All right then, please follow me, said Tsubaki. You've got yourself pretty powerful pawns, Rias. Thank you, Tsubaki. Rias thanked Tsubaki. With this, Tsubaki and Kates went off. Now, for the two of you. Rias looked at Renjiro and Asia. Scene change. At the building where the registrations were taking place. Do I really need a mask? Issei thought to himself. It is completely up to you, partner. In the registrations, you are going to have to give your real name anyways, unless you plan on making an alias, said Drake. I guess I don't need a mask. If I can hide my face decently, I wouldn't need it, said Issei. He put on the cap of his hoodie and went to join the line for low and mid-class beings. As he joined the line, some strong people started looking at him. They gave him challenging glares. Issei suppressed his aura so that he would be seen as a mid-class devil, but it was still not enough for people to not notice him. He ignored them. He proceeded to join the line. After a few minutes, his turn came. The person at the low and mid-class being gate was a female angel. Name: Hayadu Issei. Cass, excuse me? The angel looked up to see Issei. She was shocked, as the security had gone radio silent for a long time. Hayadu Issei? Issei shrugged. The angel shook her head and went back to her duty. Caste. Devil, dragon. The lady looked at him again. Well, he was the security, so it will make sense if he is a dragon. Class. Mid-class devil, not sure about the dragon part. The lady looked up again. She sensed his power. High class would be too low for him. He should be an ultimate class devil. Well then, you have been registered. Please wait till tomorrow for the challenge to start. Thank you very much. Issei walked away towards the exit. The angel was slightly confused with the events that just transpired, but proceeded to ignore it and resume her business. Scene change, time skip, a few hours. So, Renjiro is a storm maker. Makes sense I guess since he has naturally high magic reserve. Matsuda and Motohama are a part of Kiria's peerage, and Keitase is now Sona's rook? Asked Issei. Yep, replied Keitase. Well, this is interesting, replied Issei. Keitase and Murayama were seated around Issei. They had brought him some food. After finishing the food, how about we train? Asked Issei. The girls looked at him with fear. They knew how strong Issei was. Even if he was barely paying any attention to the fight, they would undoubtedly lose, horribly. Issei gave an awkward smile. No, not against me. I am saying you two train against each other, said Issei, making the two girls sigh in relief. But we do that every day? Said Keitase. I know, but this time it will be a full-on fight, said Issei. Keitase and Murayama looked at each other. A full fight? Asked Murayama. To the finish, smirked Issei. Keitase and Murayama sighed and nodded. They cleaned up and went towards opposite sides of the field. You are allowed to use any magic or skill you possess, Issei announced. Murayama and Keitase nodded. Intense tension was on the field. Both Keitase and Murayama were on par with each other in the kendo club. But as it stands right now, Murayama was stronger. Although Keitase didn't show it, her best friend being stronger than her didn't sit well with her. She always thought that she and Murayama were always going to be on par with each other. But due to the events that occurred, Murayama had the higher ground. She can't just let that happen, so she trained and trained hard. Even though she trained really hard, Murayama trained equally as hard. This meant that Murayama was still stronger than her, and she felt weak. Fight! Issei screamed. Hauteclear! Murayama summoned her sword instantly and dashed at Keitase. Due to Keitase's rook powers, she was incredibly tanky. But even though she was tanky, Murayama was fast. She landed a hit on Keitase with Hauteclear. This knocked Keitase back and it left a scar on her arm. Murayama charged at her again. As she was about to hit Keitase, Keitase delivered a freezing blow on her gut, a punch coated with ice magic to stun the target for a few seconds. She took this opportunity to land a bicycle kick on her gut and jaw. Murayama was knocked back, but not for long. She instantly dashed at Keitase again. The same thing happened at first. She dashed at Keitase with her sword and Keitase was about to deliver a freezing blow. But this time, as Keitase was about to hit her gut, she quickly maneuvered to the left of Keitase, making her miss the shot. Keitase was shocked for a split second and Murayama used this time window to deliver a chain of blows. Keitase's protection spells and natural defense were able to keep up with Murayama's blows, but only barely. Murayama's blows eventually overpowered Keitase's defense and protection spells and knocked her back greatly, making her trip and fall towards the ground. Do you yield? Asked Issei. Never. Keitase got up and stabilized herself. Murayama smirked and used some sort of spell on Hauteclear. Issei smirked as he saw this. Murayama dashed at her again. But this time instead of delivering a blow, she jumped on top of Keitase, completely catching her off guard. She used her sword to stabilize herself on the ground and used her leg to push Kates into the air by her neck. Kates was sturdy so she wasn't hurt on her neck, but she did get airborne for a bit and landed on the ground. She was completely bruised. "Do you yield?" asked Issei. Kates closed her eyes, thinking that she should yield. She realized that she won't ever be as strong as Murayama, she will always be in the shadows. What did Tsubaki see in her that made her special? Why Rook? Why not a knight? She is a disappointment to the Citri peerage. Something snapped inside her. Her eyes shot open with a dangerous frown. Suddenly Murayama felt as if she was stuck to the ground and unable to move. She was able to move, but barely. Kates got up and had a huge amount of aura coming out of her. Never, as she said those words, it seemed like Murayama was actually stuck to the ground. Kates dashed up to her and started delivering blow after blow. Murayama was fast and agile, but had low defenses. And in such a situation, that could be a big problem. Because of the stabilizing spell she put on her sword and because she wasn't able to be knocked back thanks to whatever Kates was going, she kept on receiving the blows. Kates was delivering blows on her face and gut. Every blow stronger than the previous one. Murayama was able to dodge one blow and knock Kates back, but only slightly. Murayama and Kates kept on delivering blows. Murayama's blows were much stronger, but Kates' defense was much higher. This sort of cancelled each other out. This went on for about half an hour until both Murayama and Kates were on their limits. "Do any of you yield?" asked Issei once more. Kates and Murayama looked at each other. They both had badly bruised bodies. After a small stare contest, they smiled at each other. "We yield," both of them said in union. Kates seemed to remove whatever spell she placed on Murayama and Murayama let go of her sword. Both of them went towards each other and embraced each other tightly. After a few minutes of hugging, they left each other's embrace. "Wow, Kates, the spell you placed on me was insane." Murayama complimented. "Thanks, but even I don't know what happened." Kates thought for a bit. "Your sacred gear activated," smiled Issei. "Massacred gear?" Kates was confused. "Yes. Gravity jail. When I first saw the effects, I was confused as to why you only cost 3 pawn pieces. But then it hit me. Pawn pieces mostly either scale off of your natural strength, sacred gear, or magic reserves. Usually the natural defense factor only comes in the pieces outside of pawn. Otherwise you would have cost 4 pawn pieces. But since Murayama had natural strength while you had natural defense, she cost 1 more piece," theorized Issei. Gravity Jail is a rather uncommon sacred gear similar to Twilight Healing but not as rare. And especially if you are a rook piece, it's a great sacred gear to have. As you have seen, it strengthens the effect of gravity on the person you are targeting. Wow, Kates was in shock. "You are so strong, Kates. I felt like I was being pulled down," said Murayama. She patted Kates on the back which caused her to blush. Kates then made a thoughtful expression before looking up at Issei. "You planned this, didn't you?" "Well, I knew that I had to make your sacred gear come out somehow, and I have seen how you feel about Murayama being stronger, so I decided that fighting like this helped in bringing out your sacred gear. Though I do admit that I didn't think it would take only a day," said Issei. Murayama gasped. "Kates, is that true?" Kates looked down in shame. "I am sorry, Murayama. I always thought that we would be equals. But after your revelation, I felt weak." Murayama hugged her immediately. "We will always be equals, Kates," Murayama said, giving a smile. Kates hugged Murayama back. "Thank you, Murayama. Anyways, you two should be off. Usually I would tell you to not tell your king about your sacred gear, but I feel like it would happen sooner or later. You could tell them that you found your gear while training," said Issei. Both Kates and Murayama nodded and waved at Issei before going off. "Those two are quite something," commented Drake. "I agree," agreed Issei. "Well, I should sleep. I have a big day tomorrow." Issei created a barrier, brought his mattress and blanket out of the pocket dimension, freshened up and went to sleep. Scene change. Gravity jail? I was expecting some sort of sacred gear, but Sona was in shock. Tsubaki was smiling proudly. She patted Keitase on the back. I told you, Kaicho, that she will be a great addition. On top of that, she had already been training, so she is already really strong. Sona sighed but then smiled. You're right, Tsubaki. Thank you for bringing her to me. And Keitase, I hope you will continue to become stronger. Hi, Kaicho, replied Keitase. Looks like my peerage is finally starting to take place. The only thing left is my night piece, and thanks to the machine, it was a mutated piece which combined with my old night piece to form a mutated night piece, said Sona. Yes. You already have a mutated knight, being Tomo. And Saji received the one mutated pawn piece. Thanks to Azazel, they all have received artificial sacred gears as well, said Tsubaki. Short break here. Hello folks, this is the narrator here. Just a quick lesson on artificial sacred gears. Artificial sacred gears are sacred gears made by Azazel, except one, but we won't talk about that here. They are like sacred gears in the way that they can attach themselves to beings and the beings can choose to summon them. They are, however, weaker than most actual sacred gears. They are as follows. Downfall Dragon Spear. Wielder, Azazel. Through countless research into the dragon-based sacred gears, Azazel created his own. It was much weaker than the real ones. In its initial form, it takes the form of a lance-like golden dagger with a purple jewel at the end of the handle. It has the ability to create barriers and whosoever is wielding it. The spear can communicate with creatures sealed within a sacred gear and able to help open dragon gates to summon a dragon. This is how Issei was saved. Forms. Downfall Dragon. Another armor. Kind of like a balance breaker, the Downfall Dragon Spear creates an armor around the wielder similar to that of the scale mail of both the boosted gear and divine dividing. Blazer Shining or Darkness Blade. Wielder, Tomo Meguri, Knight of Sona Citri. Initially a discarded project, the Blazer Shining or Darkness Blade resembles Kiba Yudo's Sword of Betrayer. It is, again, inferior to the real thing, but it's still very powerful. Similar to the Sword of Betrayer, it has the ability to cut down spirits without a physical form. Forms. Kitchen knife. Yes, a kitchen knife. Azazel initially planned to sell this in the market, but it was later scrapped as it would do more harm than good. 2. Samurai sword. This is the version of the blade that Tomo wields. It is much more suited to her fighting style. It is in the form of a katana. It is also slightly like a balance breaker in a way that when the user applies a special type of magic on it, it becomes much lighter but also much sharper. The drawback to this is that it only works for a limited time and cannot be used afterwards for a PRD of time. Claws Wall. Wielder, Momo Hakanai, Bishop of Sona Citri. This was the first sacred gear that Azazel made specifically for the Citri peerage. It takes on the form of two bracelets which are worn on each side of the user's wrists. Both these bracelets are capable of generating extremely strong defensive barriers capable of withstanding attacks from ultimate class beings. The left bracelet is for magic defense barriers and the right one is for physical defense barriers. Forms. Spotlight Barrier. Kind of like a balance breaker, Spotlight Barrier is a form of applause wall when both the bracelets are used together. It creates a massive shield resistant to both magical and physical attacks. The drawback is that, after it is used, if the barrier breaks, then this sacred gear will not function for a PRD of time. Prosolarum Phantom. Wielder, Ruruko Nimura, Pawn of Sona Citri. This is also known as the Moon and the Rabbit. It has the form of a set of armor primarily on the user's legs. It strengthens the power and capabilities of the user's legs by at least 10 times, granting them an increase in combat performance such as greatly enhanced speed and immensely powerful kicks. It also uses time magic. From the wielder's perspective, time would be slowed down to analyze their opponents. Forms. Hyper Prosolarum Phantom. Again, kind of like a balance breaker, this form covers up the upper body of the wielder as well. Leg strength and speed are greatly increased in this form. It now also gains the ability to deflect and rebound the trajectory of various moves and techniques with a swing of the user's kick. The drawback to this is that it requires a lot of energy and can make the user so tired that even the regular form is unusable. Scouting Persona. Wielder, Rhea Kusaka, Bishop of Sona Citri. It is also known as Masquerade of Monsters. It takes the form of multiple masks, each of them having huge smiles. It allows the user to create a multitude of floating masks, which can be used for surveillance activities like searching for enemies, gathering and relaying information across long distances, and can also be made to act as a shield. Forms. Complete vision. Again, like a balance breaker, there are 4 masks which connect to the user's head. This makes the user have a full 360 vision. This also connects with allies via a mind link and alerts them of enemies. The drawback to this is that the user remains stationary and needs defensive shields around them. Twinkle Aegis. Wielder, Tsubasa Yura, Rook of Sona Citri. Also known as Shield of Spirit and Glory, it is said to have a fairy residing in it through a pact. It takes on the form of a shield of light. The shield is durable enough to receive attacks from ultimate class beings without a scratch. It can also be released towards the enemy while spinning it in a yo-yo fashion and can have fire and lightning surrounding it. It can also create a large barrier of light while surrounding it. Unlike Applause Wall, this can be used as an offensive tool as well. Forms. Pixie Patronage. Like a balance breaker, in this form the shield becomes an armor for the user. They are able to take a lot of damage and deal a lot of damage. The drawback is that it slows down the user and makes them less agile, and for a rook like Tsubasa, that means that basically any sort of agility tactics are a no-go. That's it, folks. Now, back onto the regular story. I can't thank Azazel enough for developing those sacred gears for us. Sona seemed to have a relieved expression. Come on, it's getting late, said Tsubaki. We should go to bed. I agree, Tsubaki. After all, although I got the game pieces, I still want to see the challenges. Myself, said Sona. Scene change, time skip, the next day. The building where the challengers would get their pieces had an enormous crowd around it. Everyone was shouting and screaming and there was energy everywhere. Geez, this reminds me of crowds at concerts, thought a boy with a hoodie. He had the cap pulled down so low that only his mouth was visible. Nah, concert crowds are worse, said a voice. You know what, I actually agree, said the boy again. Issei was witnessing the huge crowd in front of him. Only a few more minutes, Issei thought. And after a few more minutes, he heard a familiar voice. The building is now open, it was Graphia. The crowd was going wild. There were at least 10,000 beings there. Issei was at the back to prevent getting run over by the crowd, although, let's be honest, it would be him running over the crowd. The crowd was rushing inside the building and stomping over everything in the process. Issei was at the back, so he waited for most of the crowd to go first. Waiting, huh? I would have done the same. Spoke a voice which Issei just barely recognized. SS Sikveria Agars? Issei asked. Beside him was a beautiful greenish blonde woman. She had long slit pink eyes and glasses which suit her face. Although she is decently tall, she doesn't look older than, I'm surprised people recognize me, she said with a slight smile. Sikveria-sama, what are you doing here? Being a high-class devil, I would have expected that you already got your pieces day before yesterday? Issei questioned. I did, but I want to see the obstacle myself. Now, let's not waste time and go inside, she said in a noble voice. Issei nodded and went inside. He saw the crowd screaming and trying to pass a grayish barrier in the middle of the room. Although from the outside, it seemed like the building won't be able to handle so many people, it actually managed to take in all people and leave a lot of room. Illusion magic is insane. This barrier is coated with frostbite. If you touch it, you will be in pain and you will start losing your limbs. Try to find a way around it. And if you do touch it, I would suggest seeing the doctor outside. These words came from Graphia Lucifuge. She was sitting on top of a table behind the barrier. She had her legs and arms crossed. This is tough, said Sikveria. She started analyzing the barrier, but was thrown out of her thoughts as she saw Issei go near it. You have a plan already? She was surprised. Not really, but it's something worth a shot. He shrugged. Sikveria was confused. He started walking around the huge crowd and reached the end of the crowd. The crowd didn't go beyond this point as they felt the frostbite if they went any nearer. The crowd was 6 feet away from the barrier, and that is one of Graphia's weaker spells. As the crowd saw Issei approaching the barrier, is he insane? If well-built guys like us are unable to go through it, what chance does he have? He is going to die. Issei not only managed to hide his face and identity, but his features as well. He had well-built muscles. They were not over-bulky like many of the people here, but they were just right. As Issei grew closer and closer towards the barrier, Graphia started looking at him curiously. What plan does he have? She thought. As Issei grew nearer and nearer, his body started pixelating. First his hands, then his feet, then his torso and then his feet. The crowd was throwing comments, all of which mean the same, what is that sort of magic? Graphia's eyes grew wide. She had only seen a few beings with that sort of magic, and it was only the Trihexa family. But they had already got their pieces, haven't they? Then who is this person? Issei just seemed to phase through the wall like it was nothing. After reaching the other side, he depixelated and bowed at Graphia. Graphia was stunned for a moment, but then composed herself. Very well, I will lead you to the next floor. I will have one of my subordinates look after the wall, she said. Graphia got off the table and led him to the next floor. Sikveria was watching all that happened. I never did get his name, she thought. On the second floor, Barakil seemed to be working on some sort of gadget. This is the first challenger that crossed the first floor. Graphia's sudden words stunned Barakil. Already, he looked at the boy, well, looked at his mouth, I guess. Please start the second floor. I will be going down back to my floor. If the challenger reaches the final floor, I will be there when they get the pieces. I should not see you slacking off again. Graphia eyed Barakil before leaving. Geez, that lady is scary. Barakil shuddered. Anyways, you passed the first floor? That was really quick. I expected no one to pass that floor today. Barakil said to Issei. It wasn't that difficult after I studied the composition of the barrier. Shurgisei. He changed his voice into a much deeper version to avoid detection. A guy of science, I see. Well, that won't help in my floor. Let's save the chit-chat for later and start the floor. Barakil pressed a button. Immediately, a metal door rose up which covered the place where Barakil was, leaving an empty hallway. Issei felt like his magic powers were taken away, but they were only blocked. Issei seemed like he was walking casually through the hallway, but he was actually on high alert. Swoosh. Suddenly an arrow came out of somewhere. It was coated with holy lightning. It would be strong enough to even stun the strongest of devils. But Issei was able to dodge it swiftly. Barakil was looking through a small window and he was impressed. Swoosh swoosh. 2 arrows shot out of nowhere again. Issei maneuvered himself to be in between the 2 arrows. The arrows went past Issei on either side of his body. Swoosh schooling. This time a spear was also sent flying out with an arrow. Issei jumped towards the ceiling to avoid the spear and then back-flipped from the ceiling to avoid the arrow. Numerous arrows and spears came to impale Issei, but he dodged all of them swiftly. What is this man? Barakil thought. Issei reached the end of the hallway. That was tougher than I thought, he said aloud. Barakil opened the door behind which he was looking at Issei. Very well, you have passed my floor. I shall guide you to the next floor, said Barakil. Barakil guided Issei towards the second floor. They reached a door. I will leave you here. Good luck, Barakil said before going back to his floor. Issei took a deep breath and opened the door. He was met with an unusually large room and a person sitting in the middle, meditating. Started Issei. The person opened his eyes. Hello, why are you here? Asked the person. I am not a challenger. I have come here to the 3rd floor for my challenge. Issei replied. The person stumbled while trying to get up. Already? Hasn't the challenge just started? He asked. Yes, replied Issei. The man sighed. Very well. I am Dulio, one of the seraphims of the heavens. I am sure you know what to do on the 3rd floor? He asked. Issei nodded. Dulio closed his eyes and smiled. Without a warning, Dulio sent out a burst of holy energy towards Issei. Issei swiftly dodged it. Impressive. Dulio complimented before sending out more bursts of energy. Issei decided to do something out of the box. He used a new type of magic called conduction. He created a small piece of string with this magic and attached it to his chest. Dulio kept on sending out bursts of energy, which Issei kept on dodging. He also kept on attaching this string to different parts of the wall. Dulio was confused but kept on sending out bursts. Issei kept on dodging and, without making Dulio notice, kept on coming closer and closer to him. At one point, he started running circles around Dulio. Dulio kept on sending out bursts towards Issei. He was shocked how fast Issei was and how swiftly he was able to dodge his attacks. At one point, Issei stood still in front of Dulio. Dulio was confused again but decided to conjure a small ball of holy energy into his fist. He was about to release it until he noticed the string. Ah, well played, challenger, well played. Conductive string. You attached it to your body. You also attached it to the walls as well. If I were to attack you with any sort of energy, it will be conducted throughout the string and ultimately hit me, because you ran circles around me and kept the end of the string facing towards me. I am greatly impressed. Dulio laughed. He had never seen someone with such impressive out-of-the-box thinking. Issei bowed. I am honored to be recognized as such by a seraphim of the heavens. At ease, challenger. The final floor awaits you. I really hope you get your pieces today. You would be a great king. Dulio complimented. Issei bowed and went towards the door present behind Dulio. Before opening the door, he retracted the strings he placed on the wall and cleaned up the mess. He opened the door, only to be met with a large field. There was a being present at one of the ends, whom he could recognize from a mile away. So a challenger has come? My, I thought no one could even pass Graphia's wall. Looks like there are indeed some strong beings in the low and middle classes. Roared Tannen. Well then, enough talk, let's fight. So as to not kill you, I will only use half of my power. Tannen-sama, are you sure? You might end up regretting it. Asked Issei. FW lower class being asking me if I'm sure? Now I've heard it all. Do you want to be killed? Asked Tannen. Not really. Replied Issei. Good, so you have your answer. Replied Tannen. Tannen rushed at Issei with a fist clenched in his right hand. Just as Tannen was about to hit Issei, Issei put his palm outwards. He blocked Tannen's attack. Impossible. Tannen was shocked. Issei delivered one punch to the gut. The match was over. Tannen fell down, hugging his gut. WWW, what are you? Tannen was barely able to form a sentence. Someone you should have used your full power against, Tannen-sama. Issei bent down to heal Tannen. Tannen was shocked at Issei's actions. After being healed, there are not many people like you in the world. Many would have walked off, and rightfully so. You have gained my eternal respect. Tannen bowed. Tannen-ta, I am honored. Bowed Issei. After bowing to Tannen, Tannen revealed an elevator which was on the edge of the field. Issei and Tannen both got on the elevator. Tannen created a communication circle and said that the challenger has defeated him and asked the floor guardians to meet them at the final floor. After a few moments, the elevator stopped and the door opened. Issei saw many familiar faces. The floor guardians Graphia, Barakiel, Dulio and of course Tannen were present. All the four Maos, Surzex Lucifer, Seraphal Leviathan, Ajuka Beelzebub and Falbium Asmodeus were present. Archangel Michael was present as well. And of course, Azazel was also present. So you are the challenger, huh? Started Surzex. I never expected that we would have a mid or low class being get their pieces today. Truly intriguing, commented Falbium. I know that this is inappropriate, but I am curious to see your face. Said Azazel. Azazel, you know that we must respect the privacy of the challengers. Scolded Graphia. I am a bit curious myself. States Surzex. Graphia gave a cold stare to her husband, but he ignored it for now. If it is all right with you, of course. You may have a lot of questions when you see my face, and I will explain everything. Just don't kill me, please. Issei said awkwardly. Everyone looked at him curiously. Issei put his hands on his cap. As he kept on pulling the cap back, everyone's eyes grew wider and wider. First they saw his mouth clearly, then his nose, then his closed eyes, and then his entire face. Many gasps could be heard in the As Issei opened his eyes, he saw that everyone's mouth was open wide. "Hello, Haddad, it's been long," he said awkwardly. Graphia's face went dark. She slowly walked towards Issei. Issei was scared for his life. "Hey, I said that I would explain everything. No need to get vile, oof." Graphia pulled Issei into a tight hug. Issei was shocked. He thought he would be dead. But no, instead he was pulled into a hug by someone he considered to be his elder sister. Since Graphia was now shorter than Issei, her head reached up till Issei's shoulder. Issei could feel drops of water on his shoulder. "Graphia?" He could hear Graphia sniffing. "Sniff, baka. Sniff, you better explain everything. Sniff, you have no clue how much. Sniff, pain I was in," she whispered. She didn't let go of Issei and kept on hugging him tighter. "But how?" Surzex was confused. His mouth was still open. "I will explain everything," said Issei. "So?" Issei explained whatever happened this whole time. Graphia finally let go of Issei as he explained everything, but was immediately met by Seraphal's embrace. "I am so proud of you." Azazel was in tears after listening to Issei's story. He wasn't proud because of Issei's intentions, although that might have been a part of it. He was mostly proud as Issei kept on building his harem, even thought he was thought to be dead. "You have no idea how depressed we were." Seraphal was crying as she embraced Issei. Issei felt like his life was getting SED out from his body when both Graphia and Seraphal were hugging him. "You defeated not only Tiamat, the strongest dragon king, but also Fuyuki, the Daiukai of destruction?" Michael was shocked with Issei's power. Both of those beings rival the power of the faction leaders. Issei nodded. "Rias would be so happy when she hears this." "I have got to dish," Azazel started, but was stopped by Issei. "I would like to tell her and her peerage myself if you don't mind," said Issei. Azazel nodded. "Well then, Issei, you should go and receive your pieces. And Seraphal, please don't kill him with your hugs," said Surzex. Seraphal pouted as she released Issei. "I will be coming for you." She winked at Issei. Issei didn't know whether he should be scared or happy. Issei nodded at Surzex. He went towards the machine. He had never released his full aura before, so this was the first time. Issei closed his eyes. As Issei shot open his eyes, his full aura was released. It was so insanely powerful that everyone had to hold on to something for support so as to not be blown away by the immense power of his aura. Graphia had to strengthen the barrier 5 times for it to not break. Issei's aura was so strong that it started showing a crimson-red color. "This is just his aura?" Falbium was shocked. "It's stronger than all of our auras combined." He meant everything he said. There is no way he could have been magically gifted this much power. He really has trained like a madman. Ajuka. Issei concentrated his energy into a small spear. Graphia had to further strengthen the barrier around 35 times so that just the presence of all of that power doesn't crumble the barrier and blow it into smithereens. Issei's sphere was dominated by a crimson-red color, but also had accents of orange, black, green, blue, and gold in it. After a few seconds, he released the sphere into the machine. The tubes of the machine started glowing a variety of colors. The machine started shaking violently. Issei kept on looking at the machine. The machine was going haywire. Sparks could be seen flying out of the machine. The machine was going to explode. Issei quickly retracted his aura and created a massive barrier around the machine. A violent explosion was heard inside the barrier. Since the machine was inside the barrier, the room was completely unharmed. The people in the room, however, was shook. Their hair ruffled, clothes creased, and eyes shot wide. Just who is this person? Issei was never this strong. Why your power? It overwhelmed the machine, said Ajuka in disbelief. He made the machine in such a way that it would be able to handle any kind of power. Seeing his machine break like such, Ajuka went closer towards the machine to inspect it. I'm really sorry, I didn't know that. Issei apologized. Don't be. I am quite impressed that you were able to break my machine. Issei took down the barrier so that Ajuka could inspect the machine. He blew away the smoke with his magic. He saw a box under the machine. Looks like it gave you your pieces before it broke, said Ajuka. Ajuka took the box and gave it to Issei. Everyone was curious to see the pieces. Issei opened the box. Let's just say that the group was one more jump scare away from fainting. And in no way, said Graphia. Every single piece? Seraphol exclaimed. Every single piece was mutated. And not only that, but the pawn pieces seem to be hyper-mutated, said Azazel. Mutated pieces are usually worth twice of regular pieces. For example, if a being is worth 2 pawn pieces, they will be worth 1 mutated pawn piece. But hyper-mutated pieces are worth 4 times of that of regular pieces. So if a being is worth 4 pawn pieces, that being would be worth only 1 hyper-mutated pawn piece. Issei's eyes went wide. So I have a lot of room, huh? He said. With that kind of power, your peerage will be one no one would like to face, said Tannen. Well then, sorry for taking a lot of time, and I'm even more sorry for keeping myself hidden from you all, apologized Issei. You had a good reason. I am proud to call you my brother, Surzex said proudly. Just don't ever do that again, he said bluntly. You better not, cried Graphia and Seraphol before hugging him. He was in intense pain and pleasure at the same time. After letting go, Issei said his goodbyes and was about to leave, but was stopped by Azazel. Before you go, I'm pretty sure Surzex and the Maus have something to say. To you, smirked Azazel. Issei looked back and was confused. The Maus talked among themselves for a few seconds. Issei, would you like to be an ultimate class devil? Asked Seraphol. Issei was dumbfounded. You ultimate class? He stuttered. Don't be so surprised. With that kind of power, you should be promoted to a Mao on the spot. But due to politics, we are only able to promote you to ultimate class, said Falbium. Us Maus have the power to promote one being to ultimate class every 6 months without any sort of test. Are you sure you want to use that one promotion on me? Issei stuttered again. There has never been another devil as worthy as you to be an ultimate class, said Seraphol. Wow. Issei was lost for words. If it is the decision of the Mausimus, I accept. Issei bowed. Surzex raised his hand and a bright light came out of it. You are now officially an ultimate class devil. Although, I do wonder how you still have devil properties after losing your pawn pieces. Surzex wondered. Believe me, Lucifer-sama, if I knew I would have told you already. Issei gave an awkward smile. Surzex sighed and smiled. Very well then. I'm glad to have you back, brother. And please call me Onii-chan. Onii-chan? Issei was hesitant. Surzex's smile widened. And you better call me One-san. Graphia gave a slight frown. One-san? Graphia's smile widened as well. Well then I guess I'll be off. I have to go meet ascertain red-haired lady. Issei smiled. All the great leaders smiled back at him. Take care, said Michael. I will, Michael-sama. With this, Issei went into the elevator and went away. Graphia, I didn't expect you to lose your cool, teased Surzex. Graphia normally would have given him a cold stare. But this time she just smiled. I am just happy my brother is back. She gave a teary smile. Scene change. Issei was flying towards his house. Oh man, what am I going to say to them? Wait, why parents? What do I tell them? Issei was the most nervous he had ever been. It might be weird at first, but they will be extremely happy to know you are alive, partner. Drake comforted Issei. Yeah, I guess you are right. Issei landed outside his house. It was early in the morning and he knew that everyone must have just got up. He took a deep breath. He had his cap cover his face. Ding dong. He rang the bell. He got no answer. After a few minutes, thinking that everyone was asleep, he sighed and was about to leave. The door opened. It was opened by a long blonde-haired girl with green eyes. It was none other than the girl Issei swore to protect with his life, Asia Argento. Issei trembled a bit when he saw Asia, but composed himself. Asia was wiping her sleepy eyes. "Who are you?" she sleepily asked. "Good morning, Asia," Issei said with a warm voice. He hadn't changed his voice this time. Gone were the sleepy eyes from Asia's face, and were instead replaced with wide eyes. Full of shock, she started breathing heavily. There is no way but she could recognize that voice from a mile away. Issei slowly started to remove his cap. "It has been a long time, Asia," he said with a warm smile. Asia's eyes were still wide from shock, but now they also had tears coming out from her. She was as still as a statue. It seems like everything was gone from her field of vision, except Issei. She could only see the guy she loved dearly. There were literal rivers coming out from her eyes. She couldn't believe her eyes. "I-see," she whispered. Issei only nodded slightly. "Asia? Who is it?" It was a voice Issei could recognize to be Irina. Irina was just as sleepy as Asia. She had her pajamas on, seemed to be holding a cup. She came to the entrance and rubbed her eyes sleepily. "Asia," she said sleepily. She looked up. Her eyes shot wide, similar to Asia. The cup fell from her hand, shattered on the floor. Her eyes started tearing up as well. Issei only smiled awkwardly. Irina's face changed from a face of worry to a face of anger. She quickly drew a sword and interrogated Issei. "Who are you and what did you do with Issei's body?" she screamed. Hei's eyes had an expression of sadness and anger in them. She grit her teeth, thinking that the person before her was an imposter and took Issei's body. She was utterly disgusted by the thought that someone took over the body of the guy she loved dearly. Such disrespect would be punished. She brought out her wings. Issei was horrified at the sight of her wings. It was her usual white, angel wings, but it had some black feathers mixed with the white. "Irina, what happened to you?" Issei said with a worried voice. Irina could recognize that voice anywhere. Her face of anger went back to a face of shock. Her sword fell from her and she sat down on her knees. "I-see," she whispered. Hearing the commotion, the others seemed to be worried. "Asia, Irina? What happened? Did someone attack you?" This voice was Zenovia's. "Is everyone okay?" This voice was Akino's. They reached the entrance. Both of them seemed like they just woke up. They saw Irina on the floor and Asia standing as still as a statue. They were confused until they looked up. And no. Zenovia's eyes went completely wide. Akino's usually soulless eyes had some emotion in them. Asia couldn't hold it in and jumped into Issei's embrace and grabbed him tightly. "Issei-san, Issei-san." She kept on saying his name as she cried. Oh, how much she missed Issei's warm body. Irina couldn't hold it either and jumped onto Issei. "You baka, you made us go through so much," she cried. Zenovia jumped onto Issei as well. "What? Why?" She kept on asking questions. Akino just stood there in disbelief. Issei hugged back the other girls to calm them down. Akino started walking towards Issei. She suddenly slapped him hard on his cheek. "That is for leaving us for so long," she said angrily. The girls stopped crying and saw the sadness in Akino. Knew he deserved much worse, so he kept quiet and closed his eyes. Akino then suddenly pulled Issei down and kissed him deeply. "And that is for coming back," she said in a sad smile, "but you have a lot of explaining to do," she said before hugging Issei and crying. "I will explain everything to you all and I will accept any punishment," Issei said as he hugged all the girls. After what felt like an hour of hugging, they let go. "I believe the others are asleep?" he asked. The girls nodded silently. "Let's go inside. Don't wake up the others. Let them get up at their own time," said Issei, but then something hit him. "Wait, what about my parents? What did you tell them?" asked Issei frantically. "They are currently on a trip around the world thanks to Azazel. They didn't know of your disappearance," said Irina, looking down as she said that. Issei was relieved. "Thank God, I mean, Lucifer?" Issei said awkwardly, which caused the girls to blush. "You are taller, stronger and much more handsome, but your funny personality still remains," said Zenobia. Issei smiled and got inside the house. Wow, Issei, you did all of that just to protect us? Asked a surprised Irina. Issei had just finished explaining everything to the girls. I was barely able to do so last time. I won't let anything like that happen to you all ever again. Issei said firmly. He felt a soft sensation on his right hand. Issei, you are so thoughtful. Asia hugged onto Issei's hand and had no intentions of letting go. Asia, I am not going to be able to move, you know. Issei said nervously. Nope, you are staying here. I have not felt your warmth for almost half a year. You are staying with us today. Asia pouted. Era Asia, being daring are we? Teased Akino. She was longing to see the reaction from Issei as she teased both Issei and Asia. Issei knew what Akino's plan was and smirked. Come on now, Akino. Save the teasing for later. Issei teased Akino. Akino blushed madly. She thought that Issei would be fawning over her and will have a nosebleed. But nope, Issei teased Akino back, catching her off guard. Awae. Oof, Akino fell on the ground stuttering. The girls burst out laughing. Akino got a taste of her own medicine. Laughed Zenobia. I have never seen Akino blush so hard. Laughed Irina. Asia wasn't one to tease, but even she laughed at Akino's reaction. Issei. Akino pouted after getting up. That's not fair. Sorry. I had to take the chance. Issei gave a warm smile to Akino. She then remembered how she had missed that smile of his. Akino was almost in tears as she remembered how she felt when she first saw Issei's pawn pieces coming out of the Dragon Gate. She felt like she might break down any moment, but was embraced by Issei. Don't worry, Akino. I will never do such a thing again. He hugged Akino tightly. Akino hugged him back with a smile. The other girls were pouting. They were extremely jealous. Yes, you all get hugs as well. Said with a smile. The girls happily jumped on Issei and hugged with him. After some time, Issei spoke up. The others are asleep, right? He asked. Yes. Should I wake them up? Asked Irina. No need. I want to try a new spell I had learnt. Issei smiled. Yawn. What happened? Drake woke up suddenly. Good morning, Drake, teased Zenobia. Good morning, Zeno dash. Wait, what? When did you? Drake was confused. Don't tell me you went to sleep as soon as I rang the doorbell. Issei sighed. The girls laughed. Well, I am tired right now. You used a lot of energy to get your pieces, you know. So I'll go back to sleep. Drake could be heard snoring. That dragon. Sighed Issei. Pieces? Asked Akino. Oh yeah. I went to the underworld a few hours ago as they opened the challenge to mid and low class beings. I managed to clear them and got my pieces. Said Issei, showing the box he pulled out from his pocket dimension. Whoa, the girls were out of words. Anyways, I'll start my spell that I wanted to try out. He started his spell, but, welp, never mind. It looks like they're awake. Said Issei. Rias, Rosweiss, Kaneko, Ravel, Gasper and Kibo were awake. They just got out of their beds and went to their bathrooms to freshen up. You all better go around doing some sort of chores and pretending that nothing happened. I want to surprise them, I guess. Issei put his hand on the back of his neck and smiled awkwardly. The girls sighed. Well, don't blame us if you die from excessive hugs. Teased Zenobia. Well, I guess if I die again, dying from hugs won't be the worst thing on my tombstone, Issei joked. Asia went into the kitchen to make breakfast. Akino started cleaning the floor of the house. Zenobia started watering the plants. Irina started to turn on the lights and fans of the house. Rosweiss was the first one who got down to the ground floor. She went to the breakfast table and sat down sleepily. Good morning, Rosweiss-senpai. Asia said cheerfully. She called Rosweiss at home. Good morning, Asia. You look much happier than usual. She commented sleepily. She gave a sleepy smile. Really? I don't know what you are talking about. She seemed to give a thoughtful face. Rosweiss smiled as she noticed Asia's lie. Come on, Asia, what happened? She was curious. Nothing. She smiled at Rosweiss and continued making breakfast. Rosweiss looked at her curiously. Kiba and Gasper came down next. He was greeted by Zenobia. "Good morning, boys." Zenobia greeted the boys. She just got done watering the plants and came inside. "Really energetic today, huh?" said Kiba with a sleepy smile. Gasper was extremely sleepy and couldn't really say anything. Zenobia only smiled as she went inside the bathroom to clean her hands. Kiba went into the dining room and was greeted by Asia again. Kaneko and Ravel came down at the same time. Both of them were greeted by Irina and Aquino. "Sleep well, both of you?" asked Aquino. "Well as we could," said Ravel with a slight smile. "Kaneko, what about you?" asked Irina. "Decent, I guess," replied Kaneko. "You two are unusually happy?" Ravel inquired. Aquino and Irina just brushed it off. Ravel and Kaneko sighed and went into the dining room. They were again greeted by Asia. Finally, Rias came down and came into the dining room. "Good morning, Bucho," everyone greeted Rias. "Good morning, my lovely servants," she said with a slight smile. As Rias sat on the chair, she started looking at the 8 pawn pieces arranged on the kitchen table. "Did you sleep well, Issei?" She talked to the pawn pieces. "Well, I guess I have had better nights." "I am glad to he dash." Rias was smiling, thinking that she was imagining Issei's voice. But when she saw that Rosweiss, Kiba, Gasper, Ravel and Kaneko had their eyes open wide, she was confused. Rosweiss' spoon fell from her hands. Kiba's cookie fell from his hand onto the plate. Kaneko's chocolate fell from her hands. Ravel gently kept the bread she was eating on the plate. Gasper almost choked on the cup of water he was drinking. Rias was confused as to why they were reacting in such a way, while Asia, Irina, Zenobia and Aquino were smiling. Rias saw that they were looking at the door behind her. She turned around. She thought that she was dreaming. The guy she dearly loved, the guy she thought of as her savior, the guy she thought she had lost, was standing before her. "Issei," she whispered. Issei was standing there, giving a warm smile to everyone. "Hello everyone. It's been a long..." Issei was immediately tackled by Kaneko and Ravel. Issei fell on the floor and was hugged tightly by both of his juniors. "Hasty, aren't we?" teased Issei. "Sob, shut up. Sob Baka-senpai." Kaneko scolded Issei while crying her heart out. "Sob Issei-sama. Sob Issei-sama." Just like Asia, Ravel completely broke down and kept on repeating Issei's name. Issei managed to get up. He knelt down and hugged both of the girls. "Kiba, Gasper, have you all protected the girls?" He directed his gaze towards the boys. Issei was surprised to see Kiba sobbing slightly. "We have kept your promise, Issei-kun," he said with a weak smile. "Yes, Issei-senpai. We have." Gasper was crying his heart out while saluting towards Issei. By that time, Kaneko and Ravel had left Issei's embrace. He got up and went closer to the boys. He extended his hand towards Kiba. Kiba got up and shook his hand. Issei brought Kiba in for a bro hug. After ending the hug, he went towards Gasper and hugged him. "Have you been helpful to your friends and senpais?" "Yes. Issei-senpai. I have gotten stronger to help my senpais and friends." He spoke like Issei was some sort of general. Issei chuckled and let go of Gasper, saluting back at him. "Rosweiss-sensei." He extended his hand outwards. Rosweiss completely ignored his hand and jumped onto him and hugged him. This took Issei by surprise, but he reciprocated the hug. After a few minutes of hugging, they broke the hug but were still in each other's arms. "You don't know how happy I am to see you," Rosweiss whispered. "I am just as happy," smiled Issei, which made Rosweiss blush. But she didn't mind the blush and didn't try to cover it. They got out of each other's arms. Issei turned to Rias, whose eyes were filled with tears. "Rias, Before Issei could even say anything, Rias pulled Issei into a deep kiss. Issei reciprocated the kiss. They kissed deeply for 2 minutes. Both of them clashing their tongue, not for dominance, but for pure love. After they broke the kiss, Rias hugged Issei tightly and was crying her heart out. "You better explain everything," she whispered. I will, Rias. Issei hugged Rias back. After breaking from the hug, Issei explained everything to the group. Issei, I didn't know that you felt that way, said Rias. It's all fine now, Rias. I have become stronger and now I can protect you. He smiled. Rias smiled, but then her eyes shot wide. And then tears filled her eyes again. I'm sorry, Issei. The thing is she started but was cut off by Issei as Issei put a finger on Rias's lips. I know about Renjiro and Murayama. The truth is that Keitase and Murayama kind of found me when I first woke up 4 months after the event. Since then they have known about me and the supernatural. I sensed that they both had some special power in them. They also told me some major things that went on in the ORC and student council. And yes, I know about the games, said Issei. This shocked the whole room. Issei didn't tell Asia, Akino, Zenobia and Irina about Keitase and Murayama. So that means that you know that you can't be my pawn in the games. Rias said with her head down, I am so sorry. She almost started crying. Why are you sorry? You did nothing wrong. Murayama is a strong pawn and with enough practice, Renjiro will be as well. And I can still be your pawn, but just not in the games, said Issei. Rias gasped as she remembered what Ajuka told her. She quickly took the pawn pieces from the tables and brought it near Issei. The pawn pieces started glowing brightly. The king piece which Issei had came out of his body. The 8 pawn pieces surrounded the king piece. They came together and sort of combined. There was a bright light that covered the pieces. After the light ended, the king piece could be seen. It had 8 pawn pieces surrounding the base of the piece. The king piece then went inside Issei's body again. Ah, that felt good, said Issei. He then bowed, awaiting your orders, my king. Rias's face went as red as her hair. Esses, stop it, she said. Issei got up and chuckled. But Issei, when did you get your king piece? Rosweiss asked him. Oh yeah, it's a game piece. Issei proceeded to explain how he got the piece. Wow, Issei-kun, you have gotten much stronger, said Kiba. I can sense that you all have also gotten much stronger, complimented Issei. Anyways, you all will be late for school. Better get going. Rosweiss looked at Issei curiously. Does that mean you're not going? She asked. I would love to go back, but I have no school clothes. I mean I do, but they won't fit me anymore, said Issei, but then he suddenly got an idea. He quickly created a time dome and walked upstairs to his room. He was happy to see that his room had been taken care of. He looked inside his cupboard for his clothes. He was met by his magazines and DVDs. Yeah, I should give these back to Matsuda and Motohama. Issei thought to himself. He got his old clothes. They were still ironed. His love for the girls went through the roof. I am a lucky man, he thought joyfully. He then used a bit of magic to make them longer and slightly wider. He then took out his red shirt from the pocket dimension. He quickly changed and put his new clothes inside the pocket dimension. He hurried downstairs and retracted the time dome. For the others, it just seemed like a second had passed. And suddenly Issei was wearing his school clothes? Wadash! The group shouted. Rosweiss-senpai, are you aware of time magic? He asked Rosweiss. Rosweiss took a step back. And in no way. Only gods and beings born with natural powers are. She stuttered. This caused everyone to look at him in disbelief. Issei only smirked. Come on, we don't have all day. Issei went up to his room to grab his bag. He quickly put his books inside and waited outside for everyone. He cast a time dome around himself and the house. After everyone got out, he retracted the time dome and started walking to school. As he was walking to school, the ORC stopped by Murayama's house first. As Murayama got out, she was shocked to see Issei along with the ORC. Oh, hello, Issei-kun, why you came back from your tea trip? She stuttered, not knowing how to respond. Relax, I told them already. Issei smiled. Phew, I didn't know how long I could keep it in. She gave a relieved sigh. This made the ORC chuckle. Then they made a stop at Keitase's house. As she got out, she saw Issei with the ORC. So, did I guess you told them? She shrugged. Yeah, replied Issei. Nice. She gave a thumbs up before joining the group. As they reached school, everyone went in one by one. Issei waited a bit before going in. Scene change. As he went through the gates. Who is he? Is he a new student? He looks so hot. I would date him. Man, another Kiba. Why does God curse us boys? Issei chuckled a bit at the comments. Are you a new student? He was stopped by a familiar face. It was Sona, and beside her was Tsubaki. She gave Issei a small nod. No. Issei gave a surprised look. What? I would have remembered if you were an old student, said Sona. Tsubaki was smiling this whole time, but then remembered something. She faked a gasp. This aura, I remember it. This man saved me in the familiar forest, she said while composing herself. You are really good at lying. Issei complimented Tsubaki in her. Shut up, you will make me blush. Tsubaki scolded Issei in her mind. Oh. Sona's eyes went wide. She bowed before him. Then you have my greatest thanks. But I still don't know who you are, she inquired. Come on, just 'cause I was gone for a few months doesn't mean that you should forget about me. Issei faked a sad expression. Sona was still thinking. I am sorry, I really don't remember you. Mando's the name a pay dragon, ring a bell? Said Issei. Sona's jaw dropped to the ground. Thank you for remembering me. Bowed Issei. Now, I have to get to my class, the bell is about to ring. Issei waved at Sona and walked off. Sona's eyes were wide. Issei. She whispered. I am just as surprised as you are, Kaicho, said Tsubaki. She is a natural at lying. Ah crap, I'm late. Issei started running towards the class. Just as he got to the entrance of his class, he noticed that the teacher was already there. Who is he? He is that guy from before. Please marry me. I wasn't expecting any new students, the teacher said. I am not a new student, said Issei. His voice sounded familiar to some people. Then who may you be? The teacher asked. Hayudu Issei? Shrugged Issei. What? The class shouted at the same time. Now class, let's keep the decorum. All right then, Issei, you better have a good explanation for the principal as to why you were absent for almost half a year, said the teacher. Please take your seat. Thank you. Issei thanked the teacher and got to his seat. Isha, Zenobia, Irina, Murayama and Kates were smiling at Issei. Issei smiled back at them. Dude, where have you been? You have been gone for so long, said Matsuda. Yeah man, you didn't reply to any texts or anything, said Motohama. And when did you get so handsome? Hey, I am not the only one who has changed, you know. Bishops of Ika Kiryu, eh? I never thought you two would have sacred gears. Issei looked at Kiryu and nodded at her. Kiryu nodded back. Yeah, what's up with not telling us about the supernatural? Asked Matsuda. I thought we would tell each other everything, said Motohama. Some things gotta be kept as a secret for the greater good, said Issei. Anyways, wanna celebrate at my house? I got some new DVDs, said Motohama aloud. This made the classroom give disgusted looks towards the three. Sorry boys. I am not into that anymore, said Issei. What? The entire class screamed again. How could you say that? Said Matsuda. Well, let's just say I have changed, said Issei. Just from one trip? How could you betray us like that? Said Motohama. I'll also give all my magazines and DVDs to you, Motohama. I have no real need for them, said Issei. This shocked the whole class, except a few. Fine, Motohama retorted. The rest of the class went without a hitch. At lunch break, Issei, Riaspucho called us to the student council room at lunch. Called out Sinovia. And you too as well, she pointed at Matsuda and Motohama. The three of them said in union. Although the three didn't talk about perverted stuff anymore, they were talking about the supernatural. It seems like their topic of discussion changed as Issei came back. Of course, when Issei was not there they would still talk about perverted stuff. This made the girls of the class sigh in relief that at least one of them changed, although they thought that they were talking about some video game now. The trio made their way to the student council room. They knocked on the door. Instead of hearing the usual, "Come in," someone opened the door of the room. It was Saji. Issei looked at Saji. Saji looked like he had just seen a ghost, but then smiled with his eyes closed, probably to cover up his tears. He gave Issei a bro hug. I didn't believe what Ria said at first, but you prove me wrong time and time again, said Saji while still in the hug. Saji, taking care of your peerage? Issei asked. Trying to. Everyone has been miserable without you, you know, Saji said. As he let go of the hug, both of them nodded at each other. Matsuda and Motohama were slightly confused, but decided to keep in their questions for later. The three along with Saji went inside the room. After walking inside, they saw three kings talking to each other. Sona, Rias and Kiryu. They had their peerages with them as well, at least Sona and Rias did. Kiryu is a new king, so she doesn't have a full peerage yet. As Issei, Matsuda and Motohama came closer, Rias looked at them and smiled. This caused Sona and Kiryu to turn around as well. Issei, is it really you? Asked Sona, still in disbelief. Issei smiled. In the flesh, he replied. Sona had slight tears in her eyes. Her peerage, barring Kates, Saji and Tsubaki, rushed towards Issei. They all hugged him. We've missed you so much, they cried. Issei was shocked. He didn't expect Sona's peerage to be affected as well. You all missed me? He was confused. Of course, said Tomo as she broke the hug. You always put a smile on our face every time you goofed around. She's right, you know, said Tsubasa. Without you, no one was in a good mood, said Rhea. You were a dumb and stupid pervert, but that's kind of your charm, said Momo. Whenever we were in a bad mood, you messed something up always and it made us smile, said Ruko. Issei chuckled. Well, I'm not a pervert anymore, but I do think that I will keep messing things up, he smiled. They all nodded at Issei and went towards Sona again. Issei, now that you are a king, what do you think will be your next plan of action? Asked Rias. King? Both Sona and Kiryu were surprised. For the Azazel Cup, Issei said. This seemed to help a bit but not much. Well, the first thing would be to find some members, and I might already have a few in mind. Sai, it seems like you will no longer be Team Gremory for a while, said Kiryu. I was expecting to fight both of your complete peerages. Well, I still need a knight. Peace, said Sona, so I need to start working on that and training my peerage. I need to train as well. We will be up against a strong opponent. Rias nodded at Issei. Issei nodded back. Anyways, bell's about to ring. See you guys later. Come, Matsuda and Motohama, we need to get to class. Hi, Meishu. They both walked out with Kiryu. We better get going as well, said Rias. Sona, her peerage, Rias's peerage and Issei all nodded. They went back to their class. The rest of the day went normally for Issei. Time skip, end of the school day. As school ended, Sona, I would like to talk to you about something in private. Issei was at the student council room. Alright, let's go outside, said Sona. Sona and Issei walked outside. So what do you want to talk to me about? Asked Sona. Issei lost his usual calm and collected self and was a little nervous. I.Kindasotra. Pudispelanta principal Suthadadon Thavto explainto him we was gone. He said it all in one breath. Sona took a second to take in what Issei said. She sighed and face-palmed. It's okay, I will deal with that. I understand why you did it. But this better not happen again. Scolded Sona, or at least tried to scold. She couldn't really scold Issei because of what he had went through. And also, although she chose not to admit it, she had a thing for Issei. I understand. I am truly sorry. Issei bowed down. Sona was about to say something but was cut off by a shriek. Eek! Screamed a girl who looked like a first year. But she wasn't from this school. She was a few feet away from them. She quickly came closer to Issei. Oh my! You are the Issei dragon. I am Benia, a huge fan. The girl's eyes were sparkling. While Sona was shocked that a girl recognized Issei, Issei just smiled warmly at her. You really came from the realm of the dead just to meet me? I am flattered. He replied. How did you know I came from the realm of the dead? She asked while tilting her head. I can recognize the scythe that you wield from a mile away. You are one of Hades' underlings, aren't you? He smiled. I am. Her eyes had sparkles in them again. Wow, the Issei dragon is just as nice in person as he is in the shows. Can I please have your autograph? She pleaded. Issei smiled. Of course. He brought out a pen from his bag. Ooh, please sign it on my scythe. She took the scythe from her back. She used a spell on it to seal its powers. Issei smiled and proceeded to give his autograph on the blade. Sona was looking at the events that transpired with a shocked face. When did you get so good at deducing? Even I didn't recognize that scythe at first, and I read, said a shocked Sona. Well, I have read about it in a supernatural library. And let's say I also got a live experience. Ain't that right, Pluto? He called out to Pluto, whom he sensed from a mile away. Pluto quickly removed his cloaking spell. This shocked Sona and Bennia. Looks like you have really grown stronger. Even a high-class devil, like your companion, won't be able to sense me. Pluto complimented Issei. General Pluto? What are you doing here? Bennia was shocked. Don't worry, Bennia, this is all part of the plan. Now be a good girl and slay the security eye, said Pluto while looking at Bennia. What? When was this part of a plan? I was just sent here to realization hit her. She was never just sent to Issei to get his autograph. No, she was sent to kill him. Hades knew that she was the finest scythe wielder he had. No, I won't kill the Issei dragon. Bennia turned towards Pluto and removed the spell on her scythe. Now, that would be going against orders, won't it? If you do that, I might have to put a grim curse on you, said Pluto in a teasing voice. Leave the girl alone, Pluto, said Issei. He came in front of Bennia to protect her. Well, if Bennia won't do it, I will. He screamed as he threw his scythe towards Issei. Issei only stood there. Sona was looking in disbelief. Issei, run! She screamed. But Issei only stood there. With a swift action, he quickly brought his hand out and stopped the scythe. He held the blade in between his index finger and thumb so that it didn't cut him. He created a pocket dimension and threw the scythe in it. Thank you for donating your scythe to me. That would be of great help later on. Issei smiled. Pluto was intimidated by Issei's mere smile. Well, looks like I'm at a disadvantage in this fight. So I will have to do the next best thing. He created a small sphere in between his middle finger and thumb, if they could even be called as such. He then proceeded to snap his fingers, releasing the energy he concentrated into thin air. Issei gave a confused look. Ah! Screamed Bennia. She fell onto Sona's arms. With the grim curse applied, I will be off. Pluto quickly teleported out of there before Issei could do anything. Ugh, that beastie! He cursed Pluto. He quickly turned around to see Bennia breathing heavily on Sona's arms. Sona had sat down to check Bennia. Ugh, crap! The Grim Curse is a curse that can be applied to people who have worked with Grim Reapers for some time. This will kill her soul and turn her into a Grim Reaper. Demen that Pluto. Issei grit his teeth. What do we do, Issei? I have never dealt with this before, and she seemed like a nice girl. Sona had no idea what to do. My pieces. I could use those to turn her into a devil and free her of the curse, he said. He quickly brought out a box from his pocket dimension. He opened the box and placed it near Bennia. Sona didn't pay attention to the fact that all of his pieces were mutated. My pieces won't work. She is fit to be a knight, but my knight piece is mutated and it's too strong and won't work, grunted Issei. This caused Sona's eyes to grow wide. I have to call Kiryu. She would be able to reincarnate her. He started forming a communication circle. Issei! Sona cried out. Issei stopped making the circle and looked at Sona. She had her knight and used knight piece on her hand, and it was glowing. This meant that it can be used on Bennia. Sona, are you sure you want to use your mutated piece? Asked Sona. If it were a regular knight piece, she would have been too strong for me to reincarnate. I would be able to save her and I would get a strong peerage member, said Sona. Issei nodded. Sona put the knight piece near Bennia, who was struggling to breathe. Sona Citri, will reincarnate you, Benia, as my knight. Serve me and my family. As she said those words, the night piece started going inside Benia's body. After the night piece went in, Benia's body started glowing for a second. After the glow ended, Benia was seen unconscious. She was breathing just fine, and Issei could feel that the grim curse was lifted from her body. Thank you so much, Sona. How could I ever repay you? Issei thanked Sona. No, Issei. I should be the one thanking you. You are the reason I got 2 strong pieces for my peerage. Smiled Sona. Although, there is one thing that I would like to ask of you, said Sona with a slight blush. What is it? Asked Issei. Sona looked at the ground with a red face. PPPP, please make me a PP part of your harem. She almost screamed at the last part. I have always had a thing for you ever since that match with Riser. I just couldn't bring myself to tell you. Issei was taken aback. A calm, collected and cool girl like Sona asking to be a part of his harem? Issei smiled. He put his hand on Sona's chin and lifted her face. He then kissed Sona. Sona, surprised at first, reciprocated the kiss. After a few minutes of passionate kissing, they broke the kiss. Thank you, Issei. Sona looked down with a smile. I had feelings for you anyways. I am just worried how Saji will react. Said Issei. Sona looked at him curiously. What? You never noticed that Saji held feelings towards you? Issei questioned Sona. Sona blinked a few times. Me? But he already has Momo and Ruruko after him. Said Sona. Yeah, I guess he is also pretty blind. So blind that I think Momo and Ruruko have left him. Said Issei. Yeah, I think so. He also became very cold when you left. Sona looked down as she said that. Hey! Issei started but was cut off by Sona. Anyways, you are back now, and that is all that matters. Sona gave Issei a bright smile. Issei smiled back at her. Anyways, you should go back to the student council room and explain what just happened. I will take care of Benia until she wakes up. Said Issei. Sona nodded and went inside the school. After a few minutes. Agua, what happened? Benia had just gained her consciousness. Benia, you are awake. Issei looked at Benia, who was lying on Issei's chest. Benia blushed as she felt Issei's body. She tried to get up but her hands and legs were tired and she fell right back onto Issei's chest. Hey, don't force it. You just became a devil. It will take some getting used to. Benia gave him a confused look. Issei told her how she was saved. I can't believe someone who I thought of as a brother can do something like that. She was in tears. I am forever grateful to Sona and you, Issei Dragon. Please call me Issei. As for Sona, I guess you will call her Kaicho from now on. I am sorry that you were forced to become a devil. Issei apologized. Don't worry, Issei-senpai. I am glad I am no longer with the Grim Reapers and rather with some people who genuinely care. Benia said. Issei hugged Benia, which caused her to blush. Sona will always protect you and take care of you. And if there is something that you don't want to tell to Sona, you can tell it to me. I guess we will see each other often as we will be in the same school. Said Issei. Thank you, Issei-senpai. She thanked Issei before going to sleep. Issei chuckled. She must be really tired. Issei heard a familiar voice. It was Tsubaki, and along with her was a pouting Sona. How come I get to know about your and Tsubaki's relationship just now? Pouted Sona, making her look extremely adorable according to Issei. So, I guess you told her while coming out of school? Asked Issei. Tsubaki nodded. Is there any other secret relationships I should know about? The next thing I know will be that you and Saji are in a relationship. She sighed. Yeah, let's not go there. Issei made an awkward face. Tsubaki nodded with an equally awkward face. Sigh. Anyways, I'll bring Benia to an apartment in the Devil Quarters. Sona came towards Issei and took Benia from him. Issei waved goodbye to both Tsubaki and Sona and went back on his way home. Scene change. He was that strong, huh? Hades was in his throne, thinking about Issei. He was able to hold my blade without any issue. He also stole it. Benia didn't listen to her orders, so I gave her the grim curse. which would either kill her or turn her into a Grim Reaper. Said Pluto. Shame, she was bright kid. Anyways, seems like I will have to deal with this boy myself, said Hades. Scene change, time skip, the next day. Nia entered the school thanks to Sona and was a part of the student council. She was also part of the ORC as well. I can't believe you were able to fight a Grim Reaper general with such ease. Murayama complimented Issei. You are way too strong for your own good, said Kates with worry in her voice. Issei-san, you will get yourself into bad situations if you engage in fights like this, said a worried Asia. Zenobia and Irina nodded their head in agreement. Come on guys, it was fine. And besides, Sona finally completed her peerage thanks to what I did. Issei said awkwardly. No excuse for almost getting hit by that scythe of Pluto's. You know what would happen to you if you got hit by one of those. Scolded Irina. Yes, said Issei. Bro, you practically defeated the Grim Reaper general, said Matsuda with sparkles in his eye. You are much stronger than we thought, and we thought you were. The strongest being ever. Complimented Motohama. Come on guys, I am not that strong, said Issei turning towards the duo, and come on guys, I am not that weak, said Issei turning towards the girls. The girls continued scolding Issei and the guys continued marveling at Issei until the homeroom teacher came. The classes went by without a hitch, well almost. The teacher put a surprise test on chemistry. Issei aced the test as he had studied much higher levels of chemistry at the supernatural library, but the rest of the class was exhausted as they had never had such a difficult paper before. After school, Issei took out a small crystal from his pocket. Hey Drake, do you think I should ask Azazel about this crystal? Asked Issei. Small flashback. This was during the fight with Tiamat and Issei. As Issei punched Tiamat and she fell on the ground, a huge dust cloud evolved. Issei felt a burning sensation in his chest. It's that sensation again. I was quite surprised that after I was reincarnated, I didn't feel the burning sensation anymore. Issei groaned. Issei looked towards his chest. He could see a small bulge beneath his shirt. He took off his jacket and shirt to see that there was a small crystal which was poking out from his ribcage. Issei pulled it out. His skin at that area immediately fixed itself thanks to his dragon regeneration. Huh. He looked at the small crystal. He quickly put his shirt and his jacket back on. He put the crystal inside his pocket and went to help Tiamat. Flashback and, I think you should, partner. You have not been able to tell what it is, so I think you should seek his help, replied Drake. Issei nodded and created a magic circle. Yo, replied Azazel. Yo Azazel, I need some help with a thing that has been bothering me for a while. Said Issei. Alright, come to the ORC room. I'll be there in a minute, replied Azazel. Issei cut the communication circle and walked towards the ORC house. Scene change. Quite peculiar, said Azazel. Issei was now in the ORC room and he showed Azazel the crystal. If I am not wrong, this is a part of a light spear from a fallen angel, said Azazel with a thoughtful face. Light spear? From a fallen angel? But how and who? Wow. Issei's face went dark. I am sensing the same aura, Azazel said, confirming Issei's words. Issei's fist clenched up as he thought about her. But the weird thing is that this piece was never meant to kill, said Azazel. This caused Issei to look up, shocked. Azazel seemed to form a light spear from that small piece. Feel the aura of this spear, say. Azazel put forward the light spear. Issei held the spear. His eyes went wide. This has angelic healing properties. He was shocked. Indeed. Even if the light spear impaled you and you might have gone unconscious, you wouldn't have died and the spear's healing would have kept you alive. It seems like Rainier's intention was never to kill you, said Azazel thoughtfully. Well, this piece of evidence pretty much confirms my research on Kokabiel's actions. Issei looked at Azazel with a confused face. Kokabiel was using control spells on his servants, or at least most of them. There were definitely some who worked with Kokabiel willingly. It seems like Rainier was one of the victims of Kokabiel's control spells, said Azazel. Issei's eyes went even wider than they were previously. She didn't want to kill me? Said Issei, with an expression of disbelief. It would seem so. Looks like her date with you made her change your mind. You are a really good charmer. Laughed Azazel. Anyways, the past is the past. Go on, kiddo, your friends must be worried. Said Azazel. Issei turned around and started walking away. Ida was the reason an innocent was killed? He thought to himself. Partner, remember what Azazel said? The past is the past. You don't have to think about that anymore. Draig tried to comfort his partner. Tell me, Draig, if you knew that you killed an innocent person because of a misunderstanding, would you not think about it? Asked Issei. Partner, you are talking to a dragon who almost killed the entire supernatural world just because he wanted to show his strength, deadpan Draig. Oh yeah, I forgot. No use asking you. Issei sighed and cut his connection with Draig. Issei stopped thinking about Rainier and started walking, but not towards his home. He started walking to a different place. After a few minutes of walking, he seemed to reach what looked like a relatively normal house. He opened the door. Before him was a lab. It had a giant table in the middle which was home to a lot of equipments. There were cupboards on the corners and there were a lot of drawers. The whole lab had a bright blue light coming out from the corners. Thank you, Tsubaki. He thanked Tsubaki. Tsubaki's family had an unused lab which they didn't pay any attention to. Instead of letting it rot, she decided to give it to Issei. Issei sat down on one of the chairs. Geez, today was something. Issei sighed to himself. He proceeded to open his pocket dimension and take out the site he stole from Pluto. I wonder. Scene change. At Vala's mansion. Vala was training by himself in the field. Biko and Arthur were sparring against each other while Kuroka and Lu Fei were practicing their magic. Ding. They heard the bell at the entrance gate ring. Kuroka, can you take care of that? Shouted Vala from the other side of the field. Fine. She sighed and got up. Keep practicing this spell, it will come to you naturally in no time. Kuroka smiled towards Lu Fei. Kuroka was trying to teach Lu Fei some senjutsu. Being a non-yokai, she was not able to do it. She pouted. Easy for you to say. She humphed. Kuroka giggled at the cute reaction Lu Fei gave her. She went to the entrance gate, which was actually quite far from the actual mansion itself. She opened the gate. Who is I? She started bluntly before having her jaw hit the ground. Ami? I hope you remember me. Smiled Issei. To Issei it seemed like Kuroka was too shocked to respond, and well, he was half correct. Kuroka just forgot that she had other organs for a second. WWWWHWHWHWH, she stuttered. Whoa, relax. If you're getting so worked up about seeing me, I am scared to imagine what will happen to the others. Commented Issei. Kuroka was shocked, but managed to recompose herself. State your business. She said with a commanding tone. I believe I owe an explanation to the Valley team, and also an apology to a certain Nikomata? Said Issei. Kuroka smiled at Issei. She rushed and hugged him tightly. Thank you. Thank you so much. You helped my constant heartburn go away. You have no idea how much better I have been these days. She told Issei while still hugging him. I am glad that medicine worked. Of course it worked. There is no way it could have worsened your situation. Issei chuckled awkwardly. Kuroka broke the hug and raised an eyebrow at Issei. Issei just shrugged. Kuroka sighed and gave him a small kiss on the lips, which shook Issei. Fufu. Don't worry, this certainly won't be the last one. She meowed. Issei felt his heart beat faster. No perverted thoughts. Issei calmed himself. Kuroka took Issei to the field. Hey everyone. We have a guest. She singed. Everyone looked towards Kuroka and saw a figure behind her waving at them. They didn't recognize him at first. But then Vala's eyes went wide. And no, he said. He went close to Issei. He looked at him with wide eyes, but then closed his eyes and smiled. Ha! I knew you were too stubborn to die. Vala pulled Issei into a bro hug. The rest of Vala's team looked at them curiously. Their eyes widened as realization hit them. Issei? All of them screamed. Issei smiled. Hello. It's been some time, said Issei. Issei was tacked by Lu Fei into a hug. I thought you were dead, she cried. Issei hugged Lu Fei back. Don't worry, the Issei Dragon returns. He smiled. He knew that Lu Fei was an Issei Dragon fan. Guess you really are the unkillable, eh? Biko smirked. Issei nodded as he bro-hugged Biko. Issei then turned to Arthur. Arthur extended his hand. Glad to have you back, he said with a noble voice. Issei shook his hand. Glad to be back, said Issei in an equally noble voice. Issei then explained everything that happened to him. The girls were looking at him with bright eyes as if they were looking at a movie, while the boys could appreciate the hard work Issei had put in. And that brings me to why I am here, said Issei. Sai, would you all like to join my peerage? Silence engulfed the area. Well, that I'm not sure about the others, but count me in, Naya, said Kuroka. This shook Issei. That took a lot less convincing than I thought it would. I thought I needed to give you all a full-on spar session to even convince a single one. Issei gave a surprised expression. After everything you have done for me and my sister, I can't really say no, Naya, purred Kuroka. Plus, you're gonna give me kittens, Naya? That last was very stuck. Issei was going mad inside his brain but managed to keep a composed look on the outside. Valley was thinking. Oh, I almost forgot. Here, catch. Issei brought out some sort of a weapon from his pocket dimension. It was a double-sided scythe with white blades and had white dragon carvings on it. What is this? It looks good. Valley caught the scythe and started looking at it. It's that scythe I stole from Pluto. I rebuilt it and changed the energy which resides within it. I used the bit of divine dividing I stole from you to turn it into a weapon similar to your divine dividing. It has equal power to that of the great swords, said Issei. Valley blinked a few times. The great swords? He was shocked. Indeed, Valley. I can feel that this has the same amount of power as Caliban. Arthur brought out Caliban. Oh, I almost forgot again. Issei created a magic circle. This gift is for you, Arthur, smirked Issei. Arthur was looking at the magic circle curiously. After a few moments, a woman with a maid dress could be seen coming out of the magic circle. Arthur's eyes widened. Daddy Elaine. Arthur screamed. Arthur, Elaine gasped. They both ran at each other and kissed. Issei smiled at their interaction. After a few minutes, they parted. Bibi, but how? Issei started to explain. Flashback. While Issei was to Vala's place, he decided to take a tour around the world. During his tour, he stumbled across a castle. Hey Drake, isn't that the Pendragon Manor? Asked Issei. It is indeed, why do you ask? Asked Drake. I'm not sure why, but I have a bad feeling about that place. Issei frowned. He flew down towards the castle. He cloaked himself and corrupted his body in order to phase through the walls. He suppressed his aura to such an extent that no one would even be able to tell that anyone was there. He walked around the castle. Impressive, he thought to himself. What did you expect, partner? Drake asked Issei. I expected it to be flashy, but this is really flashy. There was gold everywhere. Like everywhere. Everything from the flower pots to the ceiling was made out of gold. After a bit of walking, he heard a scream. It was a female voice. Issei stealthily went up to the place where he heard the scream. He saw a woman in a maid dress on the ground with tears in her eyes. There was also a man who was looking at the maid angrily. I am sorry, my king. Yesterday you said you like green tea the most. So I ma dash, the maid started but was cut off by the man. Excuses, he screamed. You should catch on to what I like without me telling you. Useless. You are the reason my son left. I have been holding back. The man grabbed the maid by the bottom of her chin and forced her to stand. But now, to let off some steam, I will have my way with you. The man smirked. No, you won't. Issei revealed himself and spoke in a slightly dark tone. Who the hell are you? How did you get here? And this is none of your business. The man retorted. Well, it is now. Smirked Issei. He only slightly pushed the man, but the man went flying into one of the castle's walls. Issei created a time dome around him and the maid. "Are you okay?" asked Issei. "Yes, thank you." The maid wiped her tears. "What is your name? And how did you get into this situation?" Issei asked. "My name is Elaine Westcott. I am a maid of the Pendragon family. And as to how I got here, well, a couple of years ago the king of the Pendragon family arranged a marriage for his son, Arthur Pendragon, with a girl from another royal family. Arthur was not against the marriage initially, as both Arthur and the woman knew each other for a decent amount of time and were fond of each other. But then one day, Arthur met me. I don't really know what happened other than it being love at first sight. Arthur later told his fiancée about his relationship with me and asked to cancel the marriage. His fiancée understood and didn't have a problem with it. But once his fiancée told this to the king was furious. He demanded that his relationship with me end at once or there will be consequences. Arthur then took Excalibur ruler and Caliban and ran away from the house along with his sister Lefay. He swore to his father that if anything happened to me, he would face his full wrath. Said Elaine. Issei was disgusted with the king's actions. Does Arthur have any sort of relationship with his father or the Pendragon manor? Asked Issei. Not that I can think of. Why do you ask? Elaine asked. Just thought that I should get rid of some lowly scums and their property. Grinned Issei. Elaine's eyes went wide. Not on second thought, maybe Arthur would like to finish off his father. Issei retracted the time dome. He walked over to the king with killing intent. He was currently on the ground trying to catch his breath. Issei grabbed the king by his neck and forced him up. Issei, do you know who you're dealing with? I am the king of the Pendradash, he started. I don't give a shit about who you are, scum. Issei said in a draconic voice. This made the king almost piss in his pants. Even Elaine was scared of Issei. People like you deserve worse. You deserve to die a slow, torturous, and extremely painful death, but I will leave that to your son. You better be happy that I'm giving you the honor to be felled by your own son. You deserve much less. He spat before chalking the king to such a point where he would not die, but will be in a terrible condition and will need a lot of medical attention. He then turned to Elaine. I will teleport you to a safe place. When I will get to my destination, I will teleport you back. He said before forming a magic circle. May I get your name? Elaine was stuttering as she was scared of Issei. Issei noticed that. She was scared and gave her a warm, calming smile. I am Hayuda Issei, the current Security. He smiled. Elaine's eyes went wide. She knew that the Security was strong, but this strong? And may I know where you would bring me to? Test. Issei smiled again, to Arthur of course. He smiled. This made Elaine extremely elated, but she decided to try to keep it in, and slightly failed. But first I will have to teleport you to that place. Don't worry, you will be completely safe there. Elaine nodded her head. Issei started the magic circle and Elaine was transported to Issei's lab. Well, I got another reason to get to Vala's place really quick, he thought to himself before dashing off. Flashback and that fool! Screamed Arthur. Thank you for keeping that old man alive. I want to see him scream for mercy when I am through with him. How dare he even think about mistreating Elaine? Arthur lost his usual cool and calm self and was extremely sad. Issei grinned and nodded. Arthur then came up to Issei and gave him a bro hug. I am forever in debt to you, Issei. I will of course join your peerage. He said in a slight weak voice as if he was crying. Issei smiled and patted Arthur on the back as they broke the hug. Elaine bowed to Issei. Sei, I am also forever in debt to you. While I would not like to join your peerage since I am not really a person who is into fighting, but I will serve you as a maid. She bowed. Issei smiled. No need to be so formal with me. Call me Issei. And it would be nice to have a maid around, I guess, although I don't have a huge mansion. Lu Fei suddenly jumped and hugged Issei. Thank you so much, Issei-kun, for bringing back Elaine-san. She cried. It was really nothing. I just did what should have been done a long time ago. He hugged Lu Fei back. It was not nothing, Issei. Arthur has told me what he has done, and believe me when I say that even if he dies a painful death at the hands of Arthur, he deserves much worse. Spat Biko, and since I can sense that you are now even stronger than Valley, I have no objection joining you peerage. I can see that you are loyal to those you are close to, and you will give me much more interesting spar sessions. Smiled Biko. Issei smiled back and nodded. I guess I have no choice but to join as well. Laughed Valley. You still owe me a one-on-one though. Said Valley. You all are really battle maniacs, eh? Smiled Issei. I will aid you on your journey, but I don't think I will join your peerage. I want to be a part of a different peerage to fight my brother in an official match. Said Lufei. Issei smiled and bent down to the height of Lufei. I don't think that your brother would like you to be in a different peerage, but I respect your thinking. Lufei looked towards Arthur to see that he had a slightly off face. He wouldn't be able to protect his sister if she is in a different peerage. If my brother wants, I can join your peerage. After looking at Lufei's smile, Arthur felt guilty. I will respect my sister's choice. Arthur smiled. Lufei jumped and hugged her brother. Well then, looks like I got myself a bishop, knight, rook, and a pawn. He smiled. He brought out a box from his pocket dimension and opened it. Kuroka and Vala's eyes went wide as they saw the pieces. Everything is mutated? And the pawns are hyper-mutated? Kuroka was shocked. Yeah. It is convenient for me as you actually cost 2 regular bishop pieces for me. Arthur also costs 2 regular knight pieces, and Biko as well costs 2 regular rook pieces. Vala costs 8 regular pawn pieces for me. But since my whole set is mutated, you all cost 1 piece each except Valley, who costs 2 pawns. Said Issei. You will have a lot of strong members, so that means more people to fight against. Grinned Valley. Ha, complete battle maniacs. He laughed. Issei then closed his eyes. The chess pieces he was thinking of started floating. A bishop piece, a knight piece, a rook piece, and 2 pawn pieces. To you, Kuroka, would you like to fight alongside me, knowing that thorny path that lies ahead? Issei asked. Of course I would, Naya, smiled Kuroka. Very well then. You will join my peerage as a mutated bishop. Serve me and fight with me. Said Issei. The bishop piece went towards Kuroka. Kuroka started glowing. She already had 2 bishop pieces inside her. But now, the 2 pieces that she had inside her seemed to come out of her, being replaced by the new bishop piece that was from Issei's set. The 2 pieces disintegrated into thin air. After the glow ended, Kuroka was seen smiling. Arthur Pendragon, would you like to fight alongside me, knowing that thorny path that lies ahead? Issei asked. I have never been more sure in my life. Arthur bowed down like a knight does before his king. Would you like to be reincarnated as a devil? Or would you like to remain a human? Asked Issei. Arthur thought for a bit, but then replied. I have nothing to do with the Pendragon family. So by all means reincarnate me. Issei smiled. Very well then. You will join my peerage as a mutated knight. Serve me and fight with me. Said Issei. The knight piece went towards Arthur. As the knight piece started going inside Arthur, he started glowing with a crimson-red aura. It was different from the crimson in Rias's hair. It was more like the crimson in Drake's scales. Arthur seemed to have 6 devil wings come out of his back. After some time, he stopped glowing and returned to normal. He smiled at Issei and nodded. Monkey King Baikao, would you like to fight alongside me, knowing that thorny path that lies ahead? Issei asked. Is that even a question? Smirked Biko. Would you like to be reincarnated as a devil? Or would you like to remain a monkey yokai? Asked Issei. Even thought I ran away from my home, I would like to remain as a monkey yokai. Replied Biko. Very well then. You will join me peerage as a mutated rook. Serve me and fight with me. Said Issei. The rook piece started going towards Biko. As the rook piece started going inside Biko, a similar crimson aura was seen coming out of him. After some time, the glow ended and Biko could be seen smirking. And finally Issei turned towards Valley. Valley, Lucifer, would you like to fight alongside me, knowing that thorny path that lies ahead? Issei asked. I would. Valley replied with a smirk. Very well then. You will join me peerage as a hyper-mutated pawn. Serve me and fight with me, said Issei. Two hyper-mutated pawn pieces started coming towards Valley. A similar crimson aura could be seen as the pawn pieces entered Valley's body. After they entered, the glow stopped and Valley could be seen grinning. And that marks the start of a new journey for me, Issei said. Rias and her peerage were currently training at the field near the ORC room. Wow, Asia. You have gotten much stronger, complimented Rias. Thank you, Rias Nisama. Asia was blushing slightly. As for you, Renjiro. She looked towards Renjiro. I am glad that you have gotten stronger, but you need to work even harder now that you're back from your trip. Renjiro was absent for a few days as he and his family went on a trip. Hi, Bucho, he saluted. Aquino only sighed. Knock knock. A knock was heard. They were outside, but because of their training, they could hear the knock. Kiba was the closest to the ORC room, so he went inside to answer the knock. As he opened the door, he saw a familiar figure smiling at him. Oh, Issei-kun. You're back. Kiba smiled. Where did you go? He asked. To gather some units for my peerage. He answered. Kiba nodded. I assume you all are training? He asked. Kiba nodded once more. He asked Issei to join them in their training. Issei agreed. As Kiba and Issei reached the field, everyone, except Renjiro, could be seen smiling. Hello, Issei, greeted Zenobia. Issei-kun, you're back? Aquino was visibly happy. You were gone for a while, Issei, said Murayama smiling. Issei-san. Asia waved at Issei. Nice to see you, Issei. Rossweiss nodded. Issei-senpai. Saluted Gasper. Issei-senpai, we've missed you, said Kaneko. Issei. Irina was jumping to get Issei's attention. Issei-sama, I am happy to see you, smiled Ravel. Welcome home, Issei, smiled Rias. Issei was happy that the girls were excited to see him. Hello, everyone. He smiled. He then noticed Renjiro. Ah, so you are the storm maker Murayama told me about. He analyzed Renjiro. I am. And I am way stronger than you, pervert. Renjiro retorted. Okay, insulting Issei when he wasn't around was bad enough, but now he was insulting him right in front of him? Everyone, especially Aquino, was furious. Issei tried to hold in his laughter, but failed miserably. Ah, nice to see that I'm still a weak pervert. He wiped his tears of laughter away. Huh? You dare mock me? Just because you look different, doesn't mean that you are different. Fight me. I already won against that other pervert. Renjiro smirked. Oh, but I was told it was a draw. Issei looked confused. Draw? No way. I created a massive explosion. Like I will do right now. Renjiro seemed to be fueled by his hate for perverts. He managed to create a sphere of destructive wind. He then threw it at Issei. Issei just stood there and took the attack like it was nothing. WWW what? Screamed Renjiro. Issei gave a challenging smile. If you manage to push me back even a tiny bit, I will purge my pieces right here right now, which will make you and Murayama the only pawns. He grinned. The girls widened their eyes in shock. Issei? Screamed out Rias. Issei only smiled at them. Ha, so you want Teodaichi? Screamed Renjiro. Time skip, 1 hour. I give up, Renjiro sighed and fell on the ground. For the past hour he had been trying to knock Issei back, but failed at every attempt. Looks like you need a bit of practice before you can knock me back, smiled Issei. Renjiro grunted but knew that he was right. Issei. Irina pouted. That was mean of you. Hey, sorry Renjiro, I didn't want to tease you that much. He apologized. No, Baka. She didn't mean that, spoke Zenobia. She meant about the part where you said you will purge your pieces. The others also nodded at this. Oh yeah, I was just joking. I knew that Renjiro wasn't going to knock me back. Issei said with an awkward smile. The girls pouted their cheeks. Still not funny, said Aquino. Anyways, I got my first pieces, said Issei with a smile. Really? Who are they? Rias was curious. Although she was happy that Issei is getting a peerage of his own, She was sad that he won't be able to fight alongside her in the games. Issei smirked, "It's a secret. You all will get to see my peerage when the cup starts." WWW. Everyone was sad. Issei just smiled at them. He then thought about the two other members he had in his mind. Anyways, there is a new competition in the underworld which is known as the Familiar Face-Off. We're planning to participate in that competition. You want to come watch, Issei-san? Asked Asia. Issei gave a curious look. Why can't I participate as well? He asked. The others gave a curious look back at him. But you need a familiar to participate, said Rias. Issei gave a smirk once more. Murayama smirked back at Issei. The others' eyes went wide. You got a familiar? Asked Kaneko in shock. Let me introduce her to you. Issei created a familiar circle. Out of it came a bright blue glow. After the glow ended, a figure could be seen. Hello Issei, it's been a while. Tiamat smiled. Who is she, Issei-kun? Asked Akino. Akino looked at Rias to see her reaction. Rias's eyes were wide open and she was trembling slightly. Occult Research Club, this is Tiamat, the Chaos Karma Dragon and the strongest of the 5 Dragon Kings. She is my familiar. Issei introduced Tiamat. Tiamat, this is the Occult Research Club, also known as the Gramarye Group. Everyone's jaw hit the ground. Tiamat! Shrieked Ravel. The strongest Dragon King? Screamed Irina. Era. So this is the peerage in which you serve as a pawn? She smiled towards the ORC. I am Tiamat. I am also Issei's mate. She bowed and smiled. Everyone's jaw went under the ground. Everyone except Murayama, who just smirked, was really confused. Issei and Tiamat smirked. I don't believe it. Rias humphed. Tiamat hates Drake. I don't know for what reason, but she does. I don't believe that she is your mate. Rias retorted. She was jealous of Tiamat's gorgeous body. To her, her body paled in comparison to Tiamat's. Issei didn't know how to reply to that. But Tiamat did. She smirked. Then I'll show you, she said. She got a hold of Issei's face and kissed him deeply. Issei, although stunned at first, reciprocated the kiss. Although Tiamat was barely shorter than Issei, she had to bend backwards due to the force Issei was applying on the kiss. Issei held her waist and brought it towards his. He then continued to push into the kiss while fighting with Tiamat's tongue. Both of them kept on letting out lightness. At one point, Tiamat had to bend so much that she lifted her right leg from the ground. The kiss slowly but surely developed into a French kiss. The tongue fight was visible now and it seemed like both were in a stalemate. The girls started blushing madly and even the boys blushed ever so slightly at this sight. The girls had emotions of shock, disbelief, jealousy, and even some pleasure mishmashed together. They couldn't hold themselves and for a moment let their hands slip into their BRSTS and other special places. As the two decided to stop kissing, the girls quickly regained their composure and brought their hands out of their places. A string of saliva can be seen connecting both Issei and Tiamat. Do you believe us now? Smirked Tiamat as she got out of Issei's embrace. This was her idea, not mine. Issei started blushing. The girls looked down with red faces and nodded. No way that pervert gets such a goddess. Screamed out Renjiro. Issei, can I kill him? Asked Tiamat with normal smile, but Issei could sense the killing intent leaking out from her and this made the smile extremely terrifying. Everyone felt the killing intent from Tiamat. Erno, I don't think I can explain that to everyone. Said Issei. I've got my eyes on you, boy. Tiamat stared at Renjiro with a smile. Renjiro started walking back. Anyways, Tiamat, I want to talk to you about something. He whispered something in Tiamat's ear. After she heard what he had to say, she was holding herself from completely exploding in happiness. Guys, we'll be back in a bit. Keep on training till we return. Issei said before creating a teleportation circle and teleporting him and Tiamat out of there. Sigh with a girl so beautiful, what chance do I have? Rias said softly, but it was enough for Akino, Kaneko, Murayama and Kiba to hear. At least you're the main girl for him in the peerage. Sighed Akino. At least you all still have pretty bodies. While Kaneko almost started sobbing. Hey, don't forget, Issei loves us all equally, said Murayama with a smile. Indeed. Issei has a lot of love for you all, smiled Kiba. Scene change. Tiamat, would like to fight alongside me, knowing the thorny path ahead? Asked Issei. Of course, replied Tiamat. I assume you would want to remain as a dragon? Asked Issei. Tiamat nodded. Very well then. You will join me peerage as a mutated queen. Serve me and fight with me, said Issei. The queen piece which was floating in air went towards Tiamat. A crimson aura was seen coming out of Tiamat. After the piece entered Tiamat's body, the aura vanished. Tiamat immediately dashed towards Issei and hugged him. Took you long enough, she said as she hugged Issei. Issei chuckled and hugged her back. Now for the other member I had in mind. Issei teleported along with Tiamat. Scene change. Sigh. Things have been really hectic now due to the games and all, said Fuyuki. I agree. Do you plan on getting the pieces? I heard that those pieces don't turn you into devils unless you wish for them to turn you into one, asked Yasaka. Maybe, maybe not, replied Fuyuki. Fuyuki and Yasaka were talking inside the library. They heard the door open. Welcome. How may I help you? She was excited to see him. She practically jumped onto Issei to hug him. I missed you so much, she said in a cute voice. Missed you too, replied Issei as he hugged her back. Hello Issei and Tiamat? Yasaka was confused. Hello Yasaka, it's been a while, bowed Tiamat. Yasaka bowed back. Security, the voice of a little girl was heard. She quickly jumped onto Issei and crawled onto the back of his neck. Haha. Hello Kunu, he said with a smile. You haven't visited me for a long time, pouted Kunu. Don't worry. We can have a long chat after I talk with Fuyuki, smiled Issei. Kunu nodded and got down. What do you want to talk to me about, Issei? Asked Fuyuki. Well, do you want to join my peerage? Asked Issei. Fuyuki blinked a few times. Of course. She was jumping in joy. Issei, Fuyuki, Tiamat, Yasaka and Kunu all went to the field present at the back of the library. Fuyuki, would you fight alongside me, knowing the thorny path that lies ahead? Asked Issei. With my life, replied Fuyuki. This made Issei smile. Do you wish to be reincarnated as a devil? Asked Issei. I would like to stay as a yokai, replied Fuyuki. Very well then. You will join me peerage as a hyper-mutated pawn. Serve me and fight with me, said Issei. Two hyper-mutated pawns came near Fuyuki. A familiar crimson aura was seen around her. After the pieces went inside her body, she smiled. Thank you, my king. She bowed. Issei blushed. Issei, you don't have to address me like that, said Issei. Fuyuki smiled. Hey, Issei, said Yasaka. Do you remember about our spar session? I do, we should do it soon, he replied. Well, how about this? If you win in that spar session, I'll join your peerage. If you lose, you have to join the Yukai faction. Yasaka smirked. Issei was taken aback. Are you sure? He asked. Positive, replied Yasaka. Fuyuki was also stunned at Yasaka's deal. Yasaka had equal strength to Fuyuki, and if she was defeated this easily, what hope would Yasaka have? A communication circle came out next to Issei's ear. It had the Gramarye symbol on it. Issei, I hope I didn't disturb anything important. It was Rias's voice. Not at all. What happened? He asked. Our peerage has been called to a faction meetup. It's nothing serious, on the contrary, it's something like a party. It's scheduled for today at 9 p.m. Can you come? She asked. Of course. I'll be with your group at 9. I have some things to take care of before that, replied Issei. All right, bye, she said before the communication circle was cut. All right then, I guess I'll be off, said Issei. The four girls nodded and waved at Issei before he teleported somewhere. Scene change. Issei teleported right before the gates of the Valley Mansion. He then rang the bell. This time it was Lu Fei who answered the bell. Issei. Hello. She waved at Issei. Issei waved back at Lu Fei. Are the rest at home? He asked. Lu Fei nodded. She grabbed Issei by the hand and pulled him into the mansion. Vala was sitting down in the living room and having some tea. Hello Issei. What brings you here? Asked Vala. Just wanted to see how strong you all are. How about you all fight me in a 5v1? Asked Issei. He almost spat out his tea. Overconfident are we? Vala asked. I just want to test myself. Issei shrugged. Okay then. But mind you, we will not hold back. Smirked Vala. Issei smirked back at him. I wanted to hear that. After a few minutes. He really is crazy, said Biko. Vala, Kuroka, Arthur, Lu Fei and Biko were standing on the opposite side of the field while Issei was standing on the other side. I was shocked when he first asked for a 5v1. Said Vala. Well, let's show him that he should have thought twice before asking that. Smirked Kuroka. Immediately, Kuroka created multiple clones of herself and sent out blasts of concentrated ki at him. Issei created his own blasts of ki and countered Kuroka's. He has really mastered Senjutsu. She thought. Biko and Arthur both dashed at him and attacked him. Arthur with Caliban on the left and Biko with his stick on the right. Issei blocked off both of the attacks using his hand. With one swift swing of his hand, he was pushed both of them across the field. Both Biko and Arthur analyzed how strong Issei was. Divide. Albion roared out from Vala's gauntlet. Vala divided Issei's power. What is this power? Roared out Vala. The amount of power that Vala took in after dividing Issei's power was too much and his armor broke. That wasn't even 1/4 of Issei's power. Issei dashed towards Vala and punched him in the gut. Vala was pushed back across the field. He was barely conscious after the punch. Issei barely used some power in that punch. Lu Fei and Kuroka started attacking Issei with magic, but Issei either took it straight on or used counterspells which made their spells turn into thin air. Arthur and Biko kept on using physical attacks but couldn't get past Issei's massive defense. Vala was the one that did the most damage, but he was only able to push Issei back slightly. Finally, Issei decided it was about time. He created a small sphere of concentrated dragon energy. The aura it was expelling made it difficult for everyone to breathe. Expel! Shouted Issei. Suddenly the sphere expelled outwards, creating a massive dome. The dome disappeared in a few seconds, but it did a number on the others. Kuroka and Lu Fei weren't wounded thanks to their defense spell, but both of them fainted due to the overwhelming power. Arthur was badly wounded due to him having weak defenses. Biko was wounded as well, but not as bad as Arthur. Vala was badly wounded as well. Issei quickly used Senjutsu on the field. Issei used the field as a medium for transferring the healing spells to the others. After a bit, everyone was healed. Geez, that you are strong, said Vala in disbelief. Issei smirked. He then looked to his watch. His eyes went wide. Oh crap, I'm gonna be late, he screamed. He quickly created a magic circle and teleported somewhere. The group just blinked their eyes a few times. Anyways, I suggest we start training hard if we want to be as strong as Issei, Vala said to his group. His group nodded in agreement. Scene change. Ski's gonna be late. Rias clicked her tongue as she looked at the time. Rias and her peerage were dressed and ready for the party. Rias wore a red gown and had her hair tied into a ponytail. Akino was dressed in her kimono. Kiba wore a formal tuxedo with black leather jeans. Asia was wearing a white gown with golden stitches. Zenobia wore a blue top with blue jeans. Rossweiss dressed formally with a suit, tie and jeans. Gasper finally decided to wear men's clothes and he was wearing a red t-shirt and gray track pants. He also didn't apply any sort of makeup. Honestly, he looked kind of handsome. Kaneko wore a white kimono. Murayama wore a black dress while Renjiro dressed in a formal tuxedo. Renjiro surprisingly was very calm and was talking to everyone politely. If only you were like this every day, sighed Akino. I have come to realize that I'm not as strong as that pervert, but I can be better than him in other ways, he smiled. Akino took severe offense to that but decided to keep it to herself. A magic circle formed beside Zenobia. It had a red dragon symbol. Hope I'm not too late, said Issei as the glow from the magic circle ended. You are barely on time, sighed Zenobia. Wow, you look beautiful, Issei said while looking at Zenovia's beautiful body. Zenobia couldn't stop blushing and was too flustered to say anything. Issei saw this and giggled. Sorry if I made you uncomfortable, he said with a smile. Zenobia nodded her head. And no I am happy that you think that I am pp pretty? She barely managed to form a sentence. Just don't cc compliment us at the pee party. We might get flustered, she said, managing to slightly compose herself. Issei smiled. Zenobia managed to compose herself. Issei met up with the rest of the group. Hey guys, waved Issei. The group looked back and smiled at Issei, except Renjiro. So you actually came? Teased Rias. I was caught up in something and didn't realize how quickly the time flew by, Issei said with an awkward smile. The others just sighed and smiled back at him. Currently the party was happening outside the building until they heard a voice. Low, mid and high class beings, please line up here while the ultimate class beings line up on the other side. It was Graphia. Looks like a discussion will take place inside the building, said Rias. Everyone nodded. Rias and her peerage, including Issei, went towards the gate where the low, mid and high class beings were called. Rias was first. She was examined by a lady which Issei recognized to be the angel from the day when the challenge took place. Please go in, said the angel. Thank you, replied Rias. She was waiting by the door for the rest of her peerage to come through. Next was Aquino, then Kiba, then Zenobia, then Asia, then Gasper, then Kaneko, then Rosweiss, then Renjiro and finally Murayama. Now it was Issei's turn. Hello. It's funny we meet again, said Issei with a smile as his turn came. The angel's eyes went wide as she saw Issei again. How you do, Issei? She said. Issei nodded his head. By the way, I never got your name, said Issei. It's Nemra, said the angel now known as Nemra. Well then, Nemra, nice to meet you again, said Issei with a smile. Same here. She smiled. She then proceeded to examine Issei. I am sorry, please go to the ultimate class gate, she said. Oh right, I forgot. Issei forgot that he was an ultimate class devil now. You ultimate class? Screamed out Rias's peerage. Issei chuckled awkwardly and rubbed the back of his neck. He then proceeded to go to the ultimate class gate. Oh, Issei said as he saw a familiar face at the gate. Hello, old man. How've you been? Issei asked with a smirk. Well, if it isn't the Sekyudai himself, smirked Tannen. I've been good. How about you? Started your peerage yet? He asked. Yep, replied Issei with a smirk. Good to hear. Anyways, you can go through, said Tannen. Thanks, old man. We'll see you soon, I guess? He asked. Tannen nodded. With Rias and her peerage. This place is huge, said Murayama. The room where they were in was the size of 3 football fields. I have seen bigger, said Rias. Murayama started. Suddenly a person hugged Murayama from behind. Hey Mura. It's been long. It was Kates. Kates. Murayama turned around and hugged her back. Sona and her peerage were also present there. Hello Sona, said Rias. Hello Rias. How's it been? She asked. Well, nothing too crazy. She started but was put off by Benya. Where is Issei-senpai? She asked. He is in the ultimate class session, said Rias. Oh, that's Nikwat, screamed out Benya. The entirety of Sona's peerage was shook. Issei is an ultimate class devil? Said Sona with a shook expression. Trust me, we are just as confused as you are. Spoke Rosweiss. Can I have you attention please? Spoke a voice from above. Everyone looked up. It was Ajuka Beelzebub. As you all are aware, we are going to have the Azazel Cup very soon. I hope you all have been training for that. Before the cup, we have a few small tournaments that are going to be held. Ajuka started explaining. With the ultimate class beings. Issei had just entered the hall. Whoa, he said. The room was smaller than the other one, but it was still large. However, this room had much more decorations. There was gold and really expensive-looking paintings and artifacts everywhere. Well, looks like we have a new addition, eh? Said a familiar voice. Issei looked around to see Serog. Serog Bale, Issei smirked. He outstretched his hand. Serog shook his hand. Hayadu Issei. You have changed a lot. If it wasn't for your gear, I might not have recognized you. Laughed Serog. Issei looked at his left hand to see that his gear was out. Oh, I forgot that it was out. Said Issei. Don't sweat it. Instead, you should embrace it. It's not every day you get to be the wielder of a powerful sacred gear. Said another voice. Issei turned around to see from where the voice came from. He saw a person. This person had slightly long, blonde hair along with dark blue eyes. He was dressed in red and gold clothing. Issei recognized him. You must be Rival Phoenix. I have heard a lot about you from Revel. Issei outstretched his hand. Rival shook his hand. Pleasure to meet you, Sekui, nodded Rival. The pleasure is mine. Nodded back Issei. I have heard a lot about you from Revel as well. Said Rival. Huh, so you two know about each other already? Laughed Serg. Issei, Rival and Serorg then proceeded to talk to other people. Suddenly, Issei felt a person hug him from behind. He immediately knew who that person was and smiled. Hello Fuyuki, he said. You came as well? I did, I see. She was extremely happy to see him here. Ahem. Issei heard another voice. It was Yasaka. Come on now, Fuyuki. That is not how you treat a prince. Said Yasaka. Fuyuki gasped in realization and quickly broke the hug. She bowed. I am sorry, Prince Issei. She bowed. Issei sighed. Serorg laughed loudly at this interaction while Rival chuckled slightly. First of all, don't call me Prince. I know that I am an ultimate class devil and I receive the title Prince, but please refer to me as Issei. Second of all, I am your king. So please don't be formal with me, at all. He sighed. Fuyuki bowed. Understood. What did I just say? Issei face-palmed. Serorg laughed even harder. So the Daiukai of destruction is part of you, peerage? Asked a slightly confused yet amused Rival. Indeed. She took up 2 hyper-mutated pawn pieces. Said Issei with slight pride in his voice. You had point 2? People have to insanely strong just to have one. Said Rival. All of Issei's pawns are hyper-mutated. Said Fuyuki proudly. Even Serorg stopped laughing. What? He said, slightly surprised. Yep. And not only that, all of his other pieces are mutated as well. Fuyuki said with even more pride. Both Serorg's and Rival's jaw dropped as they heard that. Before Issei could explain. May I please have your attention, said a commanding voice. Issei looked ahead to see Surzex. You all know about the upcoming Azazel's Cup. While the high-class beings and lower are being told about the small tournaments that are going to be held, you all have been brought here for a specific reason. Started Surzex. We have found that the Chaos Brigade have started their work again, and this time we have found their motive. To release Trihexa. Said Surzex. His voice was loud and clear like a leader. Everyone gasped and there were comments being thrown here and there. As you all are the strongest class of beings, you all will be reported when there is some activity nearby your whereabouts. It is my humble request to you all to report whatever activities the Chaos Brigade has been doing. Said Surzex. Usually there would be rebels who would say, why should we? Or, how does this benefit us? But this time, all were knowledgeable enough to the point that they knew the danger that waits. So all of them agreed with Surzex. A massive explosion was heard. The front part of the building was destroyed and there was dust flying everywhere. After the dust settled, a figure could be seen. The figure was in a black samurai suit with a mask that covered his mouth and nose. Who is he? By my analysis, he is stronger than even I am. Said Serg. The samurai spoke with a noble voice. I have no personal enmity towards you all, but my orders are to annihilate the ultimate class beings. Don't worry, I will make sure you have a speedy death. Said the samurai nobly. He drew his katana and dashed at the crowd. His katana emitted a peculiar aura which Issei recognized. The samurai slashed the katana at the crowd. From the katana came out a giant silverish wave of powerful energy. The beings were able to defend themselves, but they needed to use extremely powerful defense spells. That blade, thought Issei. The samurai dashed at the crowd once again. This time, his katana was much closer to the crowd. But before he could swing it, "Blade!" shouted Drake from the boosted gear. With insane speeds which no one could see, Issei was now before the samurai with Ascalon in his hands. A dash. The samurai started but couldn't finish as he was knocked back. Issei swung his sword once towards the samurai and he was immediately knocked back. "Oh, you're still standing. I guess I'll have to use a tiny bit more, smirked Issei. The samurai kept a calm face on the outside, but Issei could feel that he was terrified. He used his signature, one-blow death, punch, and the samurai was sent flying out of the building. As the samurai was on the ground gasping for air, the commotion was heard by the other group in the other building as well, and they decided to see what was going on. Issei walked towards him and held him by his neck. "I am not going to repeat this. Who is your master?" Issei's and Drake's voice mixed towards the end of his sentence. The samurai didn't say anything. "Well then, you give me no choice," said Issei. He formed a sphere of draconic energy. As he was forming the sphere, a silverish portal opened behind the samurai. He managed to push himself away from Issei and he fell through the portal. The portal closed as he fell through it. Issei just stood there with a frown on his face. "Issei!" screamed Fuyuki. "Are you okay?" "I am fine, Fuyuki. I didn't get anything out of him though." Issei looked disappointed. "You literally defeated a being stronger than me with ease. You should be happy," screamed Serok. He could feel that the samurai would even give Surzex a relatively difficult time. "My goal was to get info out of him. And if I have failed the main goal, there is nothing to be happy about," said Issei. "And that is why you will be a great king," said Surzex from behind. "But, he started but was cut off. "You already had a goal in mind as the explosion was heard. To get info. People who think like that are going to be excellent leaders," said Surzex with a smile. Issei was honored to be recognized as such and bowed before Surzex. "Issei!" He heard a voice call him from behind. It was Rias. She had a worried face on her. "Issei, is everything all right? Are you hurt?" asked a worried Rias. "Fwahaha!" Surzex bursted out laughing. Everyone was shocked as they had never seen him laughing so hard before. "Hurt? The only person who was hurt was the guy he was fighting. You should have seen how badly he was beat up," he said as he wiped his tears. Issei told Rias about the destruction. Rias was relieved that there were no casualties. "Well then, since we have a lot to do right now, you all can go back home and thank you for coming here," said Ajuka. Everyone then proceeded to leave. Scene change. At the Hyudu mansion. "That was a day and a half," said Issei as he stretched his arms. He fell on the bed after changing into his pajamas. The day was tiring, so he quickly fell asleep. Time skip, next morning. "Yoen, that was great." Issei had just woken up from the best sleep he had in a while. He was about to get up, but felt a strong force resisting him. He wiped his sleepy eyes to a rather amazing sight. Rias, Asia, Aquino, Kaneko, Zenobia, Irina and Ravel were all on his bed sleeping with him. He suddenly felt his perverted self coming back but shook his head and prevented it. Rias was sleeping to the left of Issei and Aquino was sleeping to the right. Kaneko and Ravel shared Issei's torso. Zenobia, due to her bad sleeping habits, had her head rested on Issei's leg. Asia and Irina were sleeping above Issei's head as he slept on the middle of the bed. Not wanting to wake anybody, he teleported himself off of the bed. He could see that the pleasant faces which the girls had now turned into a slight frown. They were not able to feel Issei's warm aura. But they did not wake up. Issei chuckled slightly at the change of their expression. He then opened the door of his room and went downstairs to make some food. While he was making food in the kitchen, he was talking to Drake through his mind link. "Hey Drake," asked Issei. "What is it, partner?" Drake asked back. Would it be possible for me to awaken the soul fragment of Albion which I stole from the divine dividing during my fight with Vale? Asked Issei. Drake thought for a minute, that with enough practice it should be possible. Although I would like to ask your motive behind this, as you are already capable of using basic dividing powers, asked Drake. Well, even thought I am really strong, I am still not even at the level of the top 25 beings. And since the Chaos Brigade are back at it again, I am pretty sure they would want to release Trihexa again. I need to get as strong as I can. Said Issei. Drake was thinking about what Issei said. Very well, partner. We will train to awaken the soul fragment of Albion you have, said Drake. I also plan on taking soul fragments from the other Dragon Kings as well. Although I can somewhat replicate their power, it's nothing compared to their actual power. Said Issei. Partner, you do realize that it will be extremely dangerous to do that, right? Drake was worried. Don't worry, Drake. I have a thing for using the lower odds to my advantage, Issei chuckled slightly. What's so funny, Issei? He heard a voice from behind. Oh, Irina. Nothing, I was just talking to Drake, he replied. Good morning, by the way, he greeted Irina. Irina pouted. How can it be a good morning when the first thing I see when I wake up was that you were not there? Issei chuckled at Irina's cute reaction. I'm sorry, Irina. Come. I made breakfast. Issei was holding a tray which had many things. It had a large bowl of rice, slices of bread, croissants, cakes, poaches, sausages and many fruits. Wow, Issei, I didn't know you could cook. She was surprised, and it smells wonderful as well. She said as she sniffed the air. Thanks. I guess when you practically live in a library for 4 months, you read a lot of books. He said smiling. Irina gave a bitter smile as she remembered the months without Issei. She thought that she would never see him again and would never get a chance to. Issei quickly saw this and hugged Irina. Irina hugged him back with teary eyes. Irina. He whispered. Baka. I cried myself to bed every day, you know. Irina whispered back. After a few minutes of hugging, they parted. Hey Irina, I have been wanting to ask you something. Said Issei. He removed his smile and had a serious face on him. What is it, Issei? She said as she wiped her tears off. Would you not like to be a part of my peerage? Asked Issei. Duh. Both of them stared at each other for a bit. BBB, but won't I turn into a devil? Asked Irina. Her face was happy yet confused. The game pieces don't turn people into devils unless you wish for them to. And since I'm an ultimate class devil now, the pieces will work forever. Smiled Issei. Irina's confused face suddenly turned teary. She started smiling and closed her eyes happily as tears ran down her face. She jumped on Issei and hugged him. Yes. Of course I want to be a part of your peerage. She couldn't control herself. Issei chuckled as she hugged Issei tightly. But first, you will have to become stronger. I can still turn you into my knight, but it won't be a complete usage of my mutated knight piece. So, after school, how about we go meet the rest of my team? We can practice there as well, asked Issei. Irina happily nodded her head. She then sat on the table and started eating her food. At that moment Zenobia came in. Irina? You seem really happy. Gasped. Did you fall because of Issei? She seemed surprised yet happy at the same time. The baka. She stuttered. Her wings were in the process of becoming all white again, but due to Zenovia's comment, she started imagining things. Nah, we were just talking about how hectic the days have been. Said Issei coolly. It was impossible to say that it was a lie. Thank you, Tsubaki, he said in his head. Oh, I see. Zenobia just shrugged it off and went to sit near Irina. Next came Rias, Aquino, Asia, Kaneko and Ravel. They all had displeased looks on their face. Issei-san, why did you leave bed without us? Pouted Asia. I agree. It was so cold without you, said Aquino in a sad voice. Senpai helps me sleep better, said Kaneko with a frown. Issei-sama needs to have his body checked by us every morning to see if he is okay, pouted Ravel. Issei, next time, wake us up along with you. It's very uncomfortable without you, said Rias with closed eyes and a frown. Nothing has changed at all. Issei gave an awkward chuckle. Looks like everyone woke up in a bad mood? Roswius has now entered the dining room. Everyone nodded. Hadn't worry, I won't be a bother to you all for much longer, Issei said with a smile. The girls looked at him with a confused face. Issei motioned for them to sit down at the table and eat. The girls did just that. Good morning everyone. Kiba has now also entered the dining room. Good morning, Kiba, replied Issei. Everyone else nodded at Kiba. Good morning. Gasper was really energetic. It seems like he has stopped cross-dressing now as he was wearing regular boys' clothes. Everyone nodded at Gasper's greeting. Both of them sat down at the table. Ding dong. They heard the bell. Issei decided to answer it. Oh, Murayama. Tasuki. He was surprised. What brings you both here? He asked. Ria-senpai told us that we can have breakfast with the entire peerage, said Murayama. Of course you can. Come in, said Issei. By the way, call me Renjiro, said Renjiro in a noble voice. Oh, and what made you change your opinion on me? Issei gave a smirk. Don't get me wrong, I still despise you. I just realized that acting cold towards you won't make me stronger than you. Renjiro smirked back. Issei ushered them into the dining room. Akino was visible annoyed after seeing Renjiro, but it quickly vanished as she saw Murayama. Murayama, Renjiro, come and eat with us. Rias called them. Hi Bucho. Both of them replied. Rias giggled at their action. Both of them sat down and started to eat along with the others. By the way, Issei, what were you going to say about you not being a bother for us anymore? Asked Rias. Oh yeah, I won't be living with you all for much longer, Issei said. What? I won't allow that, said Rias. She banged her palms on the table as she stood up. Issei sighed as he expected this to happen. You seem to forget that I am now a king and have my own peerage, Issei said while putting his hand on his forehead. I know, but... Rias started tearing up. Issei sighed and then smiled. Don't worry, I'm only gonna sleep there. I will basically be at this house the whole time. This made all of the girls, except Roswice who only made a sad expression, tear up. Why no, I won't get to feel Issei-kun's aura when we sleep, cried Akino. The other nodded in agreement and also cried comically. Renjiro and Murayama looked confused. They looked towards the boys who were just sighing with a smile. They then looked towards Issei. This is what I deal with every day. He mouthed. He had his right elbow rest on his left palm. He then face-bombed. Murayama and Renjiro gave awkward chuckles. Scene change. At school. It was lunchtime. The first half of school went without much of a problem. Hey Issei. Issei was eating his lunch on the table as he heard a voice. It was Sona and with her was Tsubaki. Issei got up and went near them. Hey you two, what's up? Asked Issei. We were wondering if you would like to train our peerage after school. Since you have grown much stronger, I would like to learn some techniques from you to enhance my and my peerage's power. If that is okay with you, of course, said Sona. Issei smiled. Well, I have nothing better to do. And anyways, I have to ask Saji something, he said. Thank you, both of them bowed. As they left. Well, I've got some time before lunch ends, he looked at his clock. He created a magic circle. Scene change. Issei teleported to the field he was in before revealing himself to the others. He took in a deep breath. It's been a while since I've been here. He looked around to see that the scenery was still just as beautiful as before. The birds, trees, flowers, everything was beautiful. He quickly created a time dome around himself. He then proceeded to form a familiar circle. Su-dare? As the glow from the familiar circle vanished, a sleeping Tiamat could be seen. She woke up as she felt that she was in a different place. Good morning, sleepyhead. Issei smirked. Tiamat got up with comical speeds and bowed in front of Issei. "WWW, do I owe the pleasure, my king?" She bowed. Issei scoffed. "If you keep treating me like that, I will never visit you again." He smirked. Tiamat's eyes went wide. Please, don't do that to me. I won't be able to live." She was on her knees, begging. Issei laughed at her reaction. Ha, I was just joking. Anyways, I am here to ask something from you. Tiamat just gave a confused look. Scene change, time skip, end of school. Issei went to the student council room to meet up with the Citri peerage. Knock knock. Come in. He heard Sona. He opened the door and saw that Sona was talking to her peerage. You called for me after school, right? Issei waved towards the group. Sona looked behind her to see Issei smiling and waving back to the group. Oh, I see. Sona smiled at Issei. I did. We'll be ready in a bit. We would like to spar in an open field next to the school. All right then, I'll be waiting. Issei waved at them again and went to the field near the school. As Issei left, I know that he is swell, Issei. But his aura makes me feel intimidated. Like he is some sort of monster. Tomo spoke. I agree. Agreed Ruruko. Sona and her peerage then proceeded to discuss some matters related to the underworld. Any news on the Chaos Brigade, Tsubasa? Asked Sona. Ever since the intrusion of the samurai, the Chaos Brigade has gone quiet. A few foot soldier here and there have been found and take for questioning, but they have not given any information yet. Tsubasa had utmost seriousness in her voice. I see, said Sona. Keitase, what about the reason behind the increase of stray devils all around Japan? After questioning quite a few of them, they all had the same story. I was betrayed, said Keitase. Sona looked visibly annoyed. Tiesuke. So basically there has been no progress on the Chaos Brigade or the stray devils. Looks like it will have to wait. Sona sighed. Come on, Issei is waiting. She motioned her peerage to follow her. Hi Kaicho. 1 versus 10? Seems fair, Issei smirked. Issei and Sona's peerage are now on the opposite side of the field. Sona had her entire peerage on one side and Issei was alone on the other side. Sona initially wanted it to be a 1v1 thing, but Issei said otherwise. Are you sure you want this? Issei? You know that we won't be holding back, shouted Saji. Issei gave a battle-hungry grin. Bring it. Within the blink of an eye, Ruruko promoted to knight and ran at Issei at extreme speeds. She made use of her sacred gear and jumped high. She extended her right leg as she fell with the intention to hit Issei's abdomen. With a swift motion, Issei stepped to the side. Ruruko was unable to recorrect herself and ended up crashing on the ground. Suddenly from behind, a blast of demonic power was felt by Issei. It was Rhea. She had increased her bishop powers and let out a powerful shot. Issei, again, stepped aside so that it would miss and hit the barrier instead. Issei felt that he was being held down. He looked to his right and saw that Keitase's eyes were glowing. When Issei wasn't paying attention, Tsubasa ran at him. She clenched her fist, jumped up and punched Issei's cheek. Issei was pushed back. Good attack. Taking the enemies by surprise is always effective. I am disappointed in myself that I let my concentration waver. Issei now gave a battle-hungry grin. Tomo and Ben-Nia were running at him from opposite directions. Ascalon, he shouted. Blade. Tomo brought down her katana towards Issei's shoulders. Issei slashed Ascalon at Tomo's katana and deflected it immediately. Ben-Nia threw her scythe in a boomerang fashion, but Issei deflected it again with Ascalon. Keitase used her sacred gear again. She ran at Issei and was delivering blow after blow towards Issei's gut. Issei managed to block most of them, but some of them did in fact hit his gut. Tiesuke, I am really sloppy. Issei was displeased with himself. Sona pointed her index finger at Issei and a jet of water came out from her finger. It was small at first, but its diameter increased greatly as it reached Issei. Issei was preoccupied with Keitase at the moment. He crouched and swept Keitase off her feet. He then faced towards the jet of water coming towards him. ABD used thunder magic. ZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZZ. The electricity was overpowering the water. Since water is a conductor, the electricity was flowing towards Sona. Sona's eyes went wide as she saw the scene. Mirror! Tsubaki shouted. Suddenly, a huge mirror appeared before Sona and her queen. The electricity started bouncing off of the mirror, but Tsubaki was having trouble keeping the mirror intact. Shatter. The mirror broke and the electricity shocked both Sona and Tsubaki. Kaishu! Screamed Saji, Diamanid Ise. I won't forgive you for hurting Kaicho. Line. A gauntlet formed on Saji's hand and a line shot out of it. It wrapped around Issei's arm and it started absorbing Issei's power. What is this? Just like Valet, Saji had trouble trying to pull out the power from Issei's body. Good Saji, I can feel that your power has increased. Issei smirked. Within the blink of an eye, Issei appeared in front of Saji. He delivered a punch to his gut. Saji skid across the field and was stopped by the barrier. He was lying down, gasping for air. Saji! Screamed Ruruko and Momo. Ruruko, Momo, you two use your powers to keep Issei distracted. Since Saji is down, Bennia and Tomo will have to deliver strong blows to his fists and legs. He seems to be a physical fighter, so injuring his limbs would help. Tsubaki, you will have to deflect his magic attacks. Tsubasa will stay behind to guard me. Kates, you will use your sacred gear to keep Issei in place so I can deliver the final blow. Sona got up and ordered her peerage through a communication device. Roger! Everyone replied. Everyone got into their battle stances. Ruruko and Momo used their inner anger to distract Issei. Ruruko delivered punches and kicks while Momo used magic and demonic power to cause explosions around Issei. For some reason, Issei was not retaliating. He took all the blows that were sent towards him with a calm face. Ruruko and Momo were puzzled but continued doing their job. After a while, Bennia and Tomo joined as well. Although Ruruko and Momo were aiming towards Issei's torso, Bennia and Tomo were using their weapons at Issei's limbs. Again, Issei just took in all the blows without fighting back. This didn't seem normal. Sona noticed it as well. She tried to think why he was doing so, but couldn't figure out the reason. She just decided to go along with her plan for now. Kate's eyes started glowing again. Issei could feel himself being pushed down into the ground, but he did not try to fight it, confusing Sona even further. What are you up to, Issei? Thought Sona. She quickly shook her head. She got into an attack stance with her right leg ahead of her left leg. SW-ton. An ominous sound started coming from her hands. Her hands were behind her body and her palms formed the shape of a sphere. But now there was an actual sphere forming in her hands. SSSWWWWHOOON. The sound grew louder. A sphere of steaming hot water was seen forming in her hand. There was water swirling around the sphere as well. She released the sphere. The sphere was traveling at insane speeds that not even Issei could see it. As it hit Issei, the battlefield was full of steam. Sona closed her eyes and smirked. That was my strongest attack yet. Even my sister would take some time to recover from that, she thought. That was a great attack, Sona! Exclamation point. Sona was in shock. Her most powerful attack seemed to have done nothing? Issei appeared from the smoke, and not a single scratch was seen on his body. His clothes and everything were intact. It's almost as if nothing even happened. And thanks to you, I can show off this new attack of mine. Issei gave a challenging smirk, intimidating the peerage. The air was silent as Issei closed his eyes. There was a light blue glow coming out of Issei. Although regular humans couldn't sense it, people who have supernatural capabilities could literally see the power building inside Issei. The blue glow which was present around his body started cooling the air around it. Any supernatural being would be able to sense the tremendous amounts of energy flowing out of Issei. Everyone could sense the power, but they were seemingly unable to move. They were all attracted to the power coming out of Issei. But even extreme amounts of training wouldn't prepare them for what they would witness next. Chaos Dragon, Gauntlet Rebirth. Those were the words that came out of the gauntlet on Issei's left hand. But the gauntlet wasn't the same as before. Instead of crimson red, now it was a crystal blue. The spikes at the edges of the gauntlet were now smoother and much more curvy. The golden arches at the end of the gauntlet were now teal. The green glow still remained, but now it was more of a tealish color like the arches. Apart from that, the voice which announced the gauntlet's name was not Drake's. It was much more feminine. To people that recognized that voice, shivers were sent down their spine. "WWW screamed out Soji. Sona and Tsubaki were too shocked to speak. The rest of the peerage gasped loudly. "Say smirked. Frostbite!" he screamed. "Chaos reversal!" The voice from the gauntlet echoed through the ground. Everything went white, as if it was a giant flashbang. When color was visible again, the whole field could be seen covered with ice. Everyone in the field, except Issei, was covered with ice up till their hips. "WWW hat?" Tsubasa looked down to see that her legs were completely covered with ice. "Issei? WW is the meaning of TT this." Kates was stuttering slightly. The ice wasn't really cold, but the mere power was scaring her. "Well, so I basically went to the Chaos Karma Dragon, Tiamat, for a soul fragment for her power. And this is exactly that, her power. The skill I just used was a reversal skill. Basically, I took in all the attacks that you were hitting me with and then released an attack that combined all of those attacks together and expelled it in a huge move. This is still just the beginning though. Once I master it, I should be able to use this skill while fighting normally." Issei explained. "I lost you after you said, Himit," said Tomo. "Ha," Issei sighed. As the events transpired, a magic circle with the Citri House symbol was seen forming. Sona squinted her eyes as if trying to remember who that is, and later sighed. Out of the magic circle came out a man who looked to be in college. The man was young and tall and had a well-built body. He had white hair with bangs which covered part of his eyes. Honestly, he looked quite intimidating. "You're late." Deadpan Sona. "Sorry, was caught up with council work," replied the man in a deep voice. Sona sighed. Issei was quite confused. "Sona, I presume he is a new member of your peerage?" asked Issei, still having his eyes locked onto the man. "Yes, indeed he is. His name is Lu Garu, but we call him Rugal. He took up the last 3 pawn pieces I had," said Sona. Rugal looked at Issei for a bit and then nodded. Issei nodded back. "I've heard a lot about you, Haida Issei," bowed Rugal. Issei bowed back. "Well, can't say I've heard a lot about you, but I can definitely tell that you are strong." Issei gave a challenging smirk. Issei got into a battle stance. "Well, what are you waiting for? Come at me!" Issei roared. Rugal grinned. He got into his own battle stance. To the bystanders it seemed like Issei and Rugal were having a stare-down contest. None of them blinked or moved an inch. It was as if they mentally agreed that whoever moved first would be the first one to be attacked. It was complete silence for about a minute or so as a magic circle forming near Issei's ear broke the silence. "I see. Come quickly. The familiar face-off will be starting soon." Rias's voice was heard through the circle. Issei responded to her all the while maintaining direct eye contact with Rugal. "All right, be there in a bit," he said before making the magic circle disappeared. "Sorry that our meeting had to be cut short," he said while still keeping himself from blinking. "It is fine, we shall spar again another day." Rugal sent a battle-hungry smirk towards Issei, who in turn sent another one back. "Scene change." Issei was seen sighing after he teleported to his lab. He was extremely tired. He grabbed a chair, pulled it back and sat on it. His head was laid back towards the chair and was facing towards the ceiling. "For how long are you going to keep this charade going?" Draig's voice could be heard from the boosted gear. "I have no idea what you're talking about," Issei said in a joking voice. "Come on, you know what I'm talking about," Draig deadpanned. Issei gave a loud sigh. He was pushing the ground with his legs so that his chair spun with him in it. After a few seconds, the spinning stopped. Issei stood up from the chair. He took a deep breath and started to open his shirt. Due to his recent transformation, his body was extremely well built. His six-packs were extremely well defined. His muscles were on the fine line between overly bulky and extremely flimsy to be just perfect and well built. Every girl in a 30-mile radius would fall for him immediately after seeing his body. Not in the current condition though. His body was covered with cuts and bruises, many of which are really deep and big. There was also a large crater-like wound on his chest. While all the wounds could be seen healing, it was not at a really high speed. Dammy body has seen better days, Issei said while looking at his body in the mirror. Partner, you gained quite a few more wounds in this battle that you fought. I told you that it was reckless, but as usual, you didn't listen, Drake scolded. Well, that is my specialty, isn't it? Issei smirked. And besides, the stronger my opponents are, the stronger I get. So fighting the Citri peerage made me really strong, and the reversal attack I learnt did a lot of damage. Issei exclaimed. I know, partner, but that sounds a lot like what Albion does and I don't like it. Drake clearly showed the distaste towards his partner's ideals. Also, you nearly died facing against that Daiukai, and you're going to face two of them now? Your extremely risky tricks worked on them once, but not twice. Drake was understandably worried for his partner. I know, Drake, I know I am still pathetically weak and not even close to the level of those two Yukai leaders. The only reason I was able to beat Fuyuki was due to the fact that I had the element of surprise and I used it to the advantage of my high offensive abilities. If I would have not transferred nearly all of my energy to my paper-thin defenses for that extreme stunt, I would have really died then and there. The aura that I had released back at the building for the game pieces was all just my offensive aura. I could never hope to deflect attacks from my aura alone. But that's really what I can do till now. The transformation has increased my offense tremendously, but it also took away my good defense. So I am practically a glass cannon that isn't even able to output that much damage. I am truly pathetic. Issei was visibly demoralized after his rant about himself. Drake saw this and sighed. It is true that you are still not the strongest being in the world, not even close. In fact, if I had to say, you're probably still weaker than the Baal heir which managed to win against in that raiding game. That's for the encouraging words, Drake. Really appreciated, Issei deadpanned. Let me finish. While it's true that you are pretty weak in the defensive side, you can always make it stronger. Your offenses are already really strong, so you can hold off on learning new types of offensive attacks. As your defense is, according to you, paper thin, there is a huge scope for improvement in that regard. I'm sure that, given enough time, you could easily reach the level of resistance of some of the strongest ultimate class devils. Drake encouraged his partner. Issei closed his eyes and sighed. He looked at his left hand and smiled. Thanks, Drake. I realize now that I am spending too much time increasing my offenses when my defense is something that I should spend most my time on. From tomorrow, we're going to go through vigorous defense training. Roared Issei. That's my partner. Drake roared along with Issei. Their roaring session was cut short by the voice of another person. Geez, could you guys get any more battle hungry? Said the new voice. Both Issei and Drake blinked for a few seconds after hearing the new yet familiar voice. Elsha? Finally decided to show yourself? Issei and Drake were pleasantly surprised. Elsha seemed to have been sleeping this whole time. Well, Issei's transformation did put the past hosts through a lot. Although we were not hurt or anything, after his awakening, we were unable to converse with him or Drake. Elsha said while puffing her cheeks, and no, I have not been sleeping this whole time, you overgrown lizard. Issei blinked for a few times before he heard Drake bursting out laughing. Haha, oh misery. Just the thought of you having a beauty sleep was cracking me up. Wait, no. Wait, please. The link between Drake and Issei was cut. I'll remember to never get on Elsha's bad side ever. Issei made a note to himself. Oh, I'll be late. He quickly made a magic circle to teleport himself to the place where the face-off will take place. Scene change. Well, you're early, Kaneko deadpanned. The familiar face-off was taking place inside a tent of some sort. The outside of the tent looks small, but it's actually quite roomy on the inside. The inside looks like a circus tent due to the red and white stripes. There is a giant square platform in the middle where the fights will take place. There were a lot of spectators in the arena. Rias and her peerage got a seat in the 5th row. I had some things to do, Issei said with an awkward smile. Rias's peerage just sighed. Issei went to find a seat and sat next to Kiba. A fight was already going on while Issei sat next to Kiba. Is that a bat? Issei asked. Indeed. One of the two familiars on the ring did look like a bat. But it wasn't like Rias's bat. It was as big as an average human being while still in its bat form. Its body was as sleek as a lizard. Its wings were attached to its arms and it had sharp blades on the end of its wings. Its ears resembled speakers found in boomboxes. There was a patch of thick fur on its neck which was white. The underside of its tail was green along with the wings. It had a purple belly but the rest of its body was black. That particular species of devil bats belongs to the central western region of Europe. I believe it's called the Anvern bat. Usually those bats grow about to the size of the small child while still possessing a large amount of strength. This one seems to have grown even taller. I can only imagine the strength it possesses. Kiba told Issei while being fascinated with how large this bat had grown. Issei was also quite amazed. I reckon that it must have undergone serious training. He then started to examine the other contestant. The other familiar resembled a saber-toothed tiger but its fur resembled that of an Arctic fox. It had a long and sleek body which looked to be extremely streamlined. There were diamond-like ice crystals on its back and legs which gave of a very chilly aura and made the tiger-like being look extremely sharp. However, the most intimidating part was without a doubt its face. There were 2 giant steel swords coming out from where its fangs would be and there was 2 giant ice shards attached to the bottom ends of the swords. Its eyes were chilling blue and there were 2 ice shards next to its ears. Wow, I never seen a familiar like that. It looks extremely strong. Issei commented. Kiba, seeing Issei's interest in the tiger-like being, smirked. That is a Paojian. Its territory resides in the Gobi Desert of China where humans don't visit frequently. While quite powerful, it's known to show unwavering loyalty to those who it considers worthy to make a pact with. That's why people do not turn their back on people who have formed a pact with a Paojian. It's incredibly strong and even the strongest of the strong will have to up its game against one, said Kiba. While Kiba was busy holding high regard to his familiar knowledge, Issei was busy being fascinated by the animal. It looked like everything Kiba said, strong, loyal, and rare. It was, in his book, a mythical creature. But that didn't stop him from admiring the Anvern either. The way it was using sound to its advantage in the ongoing fight gave Issei a brilliant impression of the beast. The Paojian, while could deliver strong blows, had to actually come close to the Anvern to do it. Quite an effective defense technique, Issei thought to himself. While Issei was pondering on the way it uses sound, the Paojian seemed to find a way around the Anvern's sound barrier. Within a fraction of a second, the Paojian formed an ice spear and launched it at the Anvern's wings. It pierced the Anvern's left wing and it shrieked in pain. The Paojian found an opening in the Anvern's defense and didn't miss the chance. It jumped above the Anvern and slashed its ears with its sword. The Anvern was thrown back into one of the corners. The cheers and groans from the crowd started increasing. While the Paojian was the favorite to win, it was not by a lot. Quite a large percentage of the crowd was also supporting the Anvern. The Anvern shook its head and stood up. It still had some fight in it. So what if its wings and ears were slashed? It still got its claws. The Anvern dashed at breakneck speed and slashed the Paojian. There was a horrible cut on the beast's underside and it was finding difficulty in standing up. The Anvern took that change and punched the Paojian and sent it flying. In the air, the Anvern landed a bicycle kick on the Paojian's face and sent it plummeting towards the ground. The cheers and groans from the crowd increased even more. There was dust flying everywhere on the ground and the Anvern was trying hard to see the Paojian. Normally this wouldn't be a problem for it as it could use echolocation to find out where its opponents were. But as its ears and wings were damaged, it couldn't use echolocation. Out of nowhere, there was a large shing sound and the Anvern was seen falling to the ground. Issei could just barely make it out that the Paojian jumped up with insane speeds and slashed the Anvern on the gut. The momentum was too much for the Anvern to handle so it fell down and we had the clear winner. The crowd was going wild. In the ORC, Kaneko, Zenobia, Kiba, Irina, Murayama and Rosweiss were cheering while Aquino, Rias, Ravel, Renjiro, Gasper and Asia seemed to be down. Renjiro especially was showing his distaste for the Chinese beast. Issei was overall neutral but still enjoyed the fight nonetheless. The Paojian seemed to help the Anvern up after it was declared the winner. Both the Anvern and Paojian exchanged bows before separating. It seems like contestant Zhu Liao won that round with his Paojian taking that victory. Well folks, all good things must come to an end as today's round of familiar face-off is over. Here is the chart of how the battles will take place the next time. Can we have a huge round of applause for the winners? The crowd was clapping and cheering for the winners. Demon, I was really late. Issei was disappointed. If the last fight told him anything, it was that all the fights would make everyone's heart rate skyrocket. Yes, Seikun, you were quite late. There were some really good fights, you know. Akino told Issei with a smug face. Her smug expression intensified as he saw Issei slouch even more than before. Man. Issei said in the sad voice. Kiba made an awkward smile and patted Issei on the back saying, It's okay, it's okay. Issei looked up to see the scoreboard. He had heard of a few contestants there, but went wide-eyed when he saw the name of one of the contestants. Grafia? He said. Yes. Wanisama's fight really put me at the edge of my seat. It was her griffin versus a three-headed hydra. Rias exclaimed in joy at first, but then her smile became bittersweet as she saw Issei's head almost reach his knee due to his slouch. Mani had to miss the good things. He regretted not watching all the fights. Scene change. Everyone was now back at the ORC clubroom. Kaneko, as usual, was busy eating sweets and Kaneko was with her also enjoying sweets. Rias and Akino were discussing school-related matters. Kiba, Murayama, Zenobia, Irina and Renjiro were playing cards. Kaneko and Ravel were also inspecting the game. Gasper and Rossweiss were talking about magic. Asia seemed to be making something. Unbeknownst to Asia, Issei was right behind her. What Kaya doing, Asia? Issei asked suddenly, startling the poor girl. Oh my. Then, please do not sneak up on me like that. Asia pouted. Issei smiled at Asia's reaction as he thought that it was really cute. This girl needs to be protected at all costs. Issei thought. Draig and Elsha, who were now back, also agreed with Issei. He's sorry, Asia, if I scared you. Just wanted to see what you were doing. Issei apologized. Asia's pout was now gone and was replaced with a smile. I was just making a collage for the school project. It's about history. I would have been extremely lost with this project if it wasn't for Ryoso Nisama. Asia said while going back to her collage. Cool. Mind if I sit down with you? Issei asked. Receiving a nod from Asia, Issei sat down on the floor next to her. As he got closer to Asia, she felt a sense of warmth from him. Although she does feel safe when she is with the others, this feeling is different. The kind of warmth that she receives from Issei was unlike anything she has ever felt. While Issei was thought to be dead, Asia always felt like she was freezing even though she was physically fine. The warmth from her beloved was not present and she was completely off during that time. But now that he's back, she could never get tired of being near him. Asia slowly started to lean her head onto Issei's arms, which didn't go unnoticed by Issei. He also wrapped his hand around Asia's back so that her face rested on his chest. Asia had an atomic blush develop on her face, but she didn't mind. She was happy that Issei was accepting her feelings. As Issei and Asia were making small talk on random topics while she was doing her project, suddenly a magic circle formed next to Issei's ear. He got up from where he was, much to Asia's dismay, and to one of the corners of the clubroom. Yes? Issei asked. The conversation between Issei and the other person was inaudible to Asia, but she could see that Issei had a shocked expression. She started to worry if it was really serious. Issei-san? Is something wrong? She asked Issei with a worried face. As Issei looked towards Asia, he couldn't help but notice how cute Asia was. No matter if she was angry, happy, or worried, she was always extremely cute. He gave a warm smile towards Asia. Nothing's wrong, Asia. It was just a lot to take in at first. I have to go somewhere. I'll be back, okay? He said to Asia. Asia's worried face seemed to be gone, but that was replaced with a cute pout. Etching, why does Asen always have to be so busy, she uttered under her breath. Cuteness overload. Thought he say. He couldn't control himself and quickly smashed his lips against Asia's. Exclamation point. Asia was shocked at the sudden move, but then accepted his kiss. It was not a long kiss, but it still made Asia happy. What was that for? Asia said with an atomic blush. I couldn't help it, you were too cute. Issei chuckled awkwardly. Sorry if you didn't like it, he apologized. Asia nodded her head vigorously. No. I really liked it. I'm glad that Haisen thinks that I'm si cute. She stuttered. Issei almost had a nosebleed and fainted at Asia's cuteness, but managed to keep himself composed. Well, I'll be going, okay? Issei told Asia. Seeing that she nodded her head, Issei made a magic circle and teleported away. Asia, where did Issei just go? Zenobia asked. It seemed the ORC had not witnessed the events that occurred prior to Issei leaving. Said that he had some work to do. Asia said in a shy voice. Zenobia was visibly annoyed. Why is that guy always so busy? I want to talk to him, but it seems like he's never around. Zenobia held her left arm with her right arm while blushing and looking down at the floor. Hey Zenobia! What happened? Irina asked her with a confused face. Zenobia turned back and shook her head. Nothing. I was just talking to Asia. Anyways, Zenobia went back to the conversation she was having with the others. Scene change. Issei teleported outside of a giant building known as the Grigori. The place was huge with a seemingly infinite number of floors. He opened the doors to the Grigori and was greeted by a large room with paintings and weird inventions everywhere. There, the man who he wanted to meet was sitting on one of the couches present there. Ah, Issei. Azazel, please tell me this is not one of your sick jokes. Azazel chuckled. Hey although it would be funny, but no. Azazel closed his eyes while his serious face came back. Come, Azazel motioned for Issei to follow him. They went to an elevator and Azazel pressed a special button which was coated with gold. Are you sure your eyes are not playing tricks on you? Issei asked while they were on the elevator. I am 100% certain that they are not. Although I am still uncertain if it's actually the person who I think it is. If it who I think it is, this could be a very big case. Azazel had a stern look on his face. As the elevator doors opened, a large room was revealed. It had a desk and a chair similar to the one in the ORC, along with other melons and bits of text scattered around everywhere. The room had coated with wood and gold along with hints of emerald here and there. Issei and Azazel went across the room to a door. After opening the door, a lab was revealed. In the lab, there was a giant computer which both Azazel and Issei went near. I was just fooling around and going through the security camera footage while I was having breakfast as I had nothing better to do. This video was taken today at 6 a.m. in the morning. This is Kyoto Station, and there is a train arriving right now. As Azazel said that, a yellow train could be seen stopping on the station. I didn't think much of it at first, but for some reason, I felt like paying closer attention to the people getting off the train. That's when I noticed Azazel pointed to a person on the video. Issei's eyes went wide. The way her hair flowed, the skin tone, the body, the figure, the eye color. Even though she had a muffler covering her mouth and a pair of specs, there was no mistaking who it was. Arainer? Issei screamed out while taking a few steps back. Azazel closed his eyes, sighed, and nodded. But. Issei was at a loss for words. His first ever girlfriend who murdered him in cold blood. The girl who was killed by his king in front of him. The girl that he could not ever forget. She's alive? I've already sent people to investigate her. Information on her should be ready by tomorrow. Azazel let out a loud sigh. He knows how much Issei has been put through because of her. One look at the boy and anyone would be able to tell that he was experiencing his past nightmares one more. Awkward silence filled the area as both of them were looking at the screen in disbelief. A being who was killed in front of many people was now alive? And from the looks of it, she seems to be quite okay. There was no trace of her for about a year and now she is alive and well? Issei I will look into this personally. Azazel didn't even get to complete his sentence due to Issei cutting him off. Azazel looked at the boy with pure shock. Issei? Are you sure? You know that we can dash. I must look into this personally. Issei had a stern tone to his voice. He closed his eyes, sighed, and turned to face towards Azazel. He opened his eyes, which were full of determination, and spoke, I will not sit here and let others do the work for me. No, this is something I must investigate myself. If you want to send other people, fair enough. But I am going and you are not going to stop me. Azazel was in pure disbelief. Just a few seconds ago, the boy looked like he was reliving his worst nightmare, but now he wants to actually do so? Hey, I know that I cannot stop you, and I won't be stopping you either. Butto, take care, Azazel said while his eyes were closed. Issei nodded. They shook hands and Issei parted ways with Azazel. Scene change. Issei teleported himself into the Hyudu manor. As he could not sense anyone, he assumed that no one was home. He looked around the house while thinking about this hectic year. Killed by his first ever girlfriend, turned into a devil, got a harem, fought some of the strongest beings, died and resurrected once more, many new friends. It has all been a roller coaster for Issei. He sighed and went upstairs to the bathroom near his room. He turned on the lights and started the hot water in the bathtub, which was quite large for one person. As the water filled, he thought about everything that has happened in the past couple of months. He stepped inside the bathtub. He rested his head on one of the ends of the bathtub and looked up at the ceiling. He could see the sparking tiles which were made from pure marble. He was admiring the patterns which was made by the marble when he slowly fell asleep. Why? But what was your reason? Reason for what? Reason for avoiding the people you love the most? I needed to grow stronger to protect them. Don't fool around. I want to know your actual reason. That is my actual reason. Like hell it is. It is. So it's not because you were afraid of going back to them? It wasn't because you were tired of being called the newcomer, weakest piece? Shut up. It wasn't because you were tired of being seen as inferior to your king? I said shut up. It wasn't because you had enough of people calling you the weakest security? Shut up. It wasn't because you had enough? Shut up. It wasn't because you had enough of it all? Shut up. It wasn't because you had enough them? Shout thithi heal up. Will you die for? Issei's eyes shot open. He got out of the bathtub and looked around the bathroom frantically. Issei-kun? What happened? Elsha spoke from the boosted gear. Partner, are you all right? Drake was quite concerned as well. After a few minutes of being on the top of his guard, Issei relaxed. Nothing. Just had a weird feeling. Issei shrugged it off with a smile. But Drake and Elsha have known Issei long enough to know that something was definitely off. You know you can tell us if anything is wrong, right? Elsha spoke. Aboulutoi enongisr. ONG, ELSHA. Issei's voice and his eyes seemed to be glitching as he said those words. His eyes were changing into red, green, and blue and was also distorting from time to time. His voice sounded draconic but with a tinge of static in it. IISE. Elsha was really concerned now. Issei blinked for a few seconds as if trying to get rid of something in his eye. He then started rubbing his eyes with his fingers. I'm okay, guess this is the side effect of learning corruption magic, eh? Heh. Issei laughed it off as if it was nothing. Drake and Elsha were incredibly worried, but they knew that one wrong move and something absolutely terrible could happen to the boy. Issei wrapped a towel around his waist and used another towel to wash his hair. He pressed a button on the bathtub which would allow the water to drain out. It felt nice taking a bath like this after such a while. Issei said to no one in particular. Drake and Elsha were still really concerned, but they didn't utter a word. They decided to let him cool off from whatever he had experienced. For all they knew, Issei was a ticking time bomb ready to explode at any moment. Phew, this magic is exhausting. Most of my magic reserves has been used up, and I still can't make it any more efficient. Issei was currently in his dreamscape. Around him was nothing but an endless pitch-black space. The sound magic which the Anvern bat used to defend itself from the Paojin really intrigued him, so he tried to replicate it. Although he was able to use the magic, it was far from efficient. I am surprised you were even able to use sound magic on the first day. Don't underestimate my partner, Elsha. You may have been stronger than him, but his growth rate is nothing you, or I for that matter, have ever seen. Drake and Elsha were praising Issei for his natural talent at picking up new kinds of magic, but they were still worried about Issei's sudden fit of rage that happened 2 days ago. Issei brushed it off as some sort of negligible side effect, but Drake and Elsha knew that there was more to that. Knock knock. There was a knock on the door to Issei's room. Issei got out of his dreamscape and came back to the real world. He stood up, stretched his legs and arms and went to answer the door. He grabbed the steel handle of the door and pulled it back. Behind the door was a certain chestnut-haired angel who blushed at the sight of Issei. "Oh, Irina. What's up?" Issei asked with a warm smile. You said that we were going to meet with the rest of your peerage, right?" "Oh." Issei had completely forgotten about that. Irina reminded him once after school that he said that he would take her to meet the rest of the peerage, but Issei said that he had other things to do then and asked if she was okay with visiting them on the weekend, to which she replied in the affirmative. But Issei seemed to have completely forgotten about it. "I'm so sorry. I completely forgot." Issei comically jumped up and bowed down before Irina while joining his hands in a prayer-like fashion. Issei's rather weird actions made Irina go as red as a tomato. She started fidgeting around with her fingers and stuttering. "No, it's no big deal really." She didn't know how to react. She was waving her hands frantically and kept on telling Issei that it was fine. Issei sighed. "All right, before I forget, let's go there right now." Issei smiled awkwardly and rubbed the back of his head. Irina's blush softened a bit and she nodded her head with a smile. "Gulp, so these are the members of UP Peerage?" Before Irina stood 6 Creaturesto put it simply. The amount of pressure they are putting on poor little Irina was frightening, and they weren't even aware of her presence. All 6 of them were busy sparring against each other, landing terrifying blows after terrifying blows. If Irina was even caught in the aftershock of the attacks, she would be done for. And it didn't seem like they were using their full powers either. They were significantly holding back their max power. And yet the sheer power of the attacks they were launching was equal to at least a high-tier, high-class being. The shields that they put around their training zone were starting to break due to the force of the attacks they were launching. "Hey guys. Hope that your training is going well," Issei waved at the members of his peerage. They probably didn't hear Issei as they continued their spar session. Issei sighed and rubbed the back of his head. "When they're in training mode, they're in training mode, if that makes sense," he sighed. Irina chuckled awkwardly. Amongst all the blinding lights due to the attacks, she caught a slight glimpse of one of the members of Issei's peerage. It was a man. She couldn't make out how the man looked like, but could only see his giant sword. The man got into a stance where his sword was pointing to the sky. He took a giant leap and jumped to a height of around 10 feet from the ground. The jump alone was enough to make Irina's heart almost travel to her mouth. The next thing that she witnessed almost made her faint from high blood pressure. The man swung the sword down to the ground. In a split second, a giant slicing attack was fired. The light coming from the attack made Irina squint her eyes. The blinding light sliced through every barrier that the man's opponent set and all the barriers vaporized into thin air. Irina wasn't able to make out if the attack hit his opponent or not, because the attack made a giant mess in the ground and dust was flying everywhere. Cough, cough, cough. Irina couldn't stop coughing. She felt as if the breath was being taken out of her body due to the dust. Issei went in front of Irina and hugged her to protect her from the force of the dust. Irina was happy that Issei was hugging her, but she was also very worried. This is the power of Issei's peerage? They're all monsters. I cannot even comprehend the destructive potential that they all have. His peerage isn't even full, but it's already stronger than Riasbucho's peerage. If they are so strong, what is the true strength of Issei Kuan? As the dust settled, Irina could see another man on the other side of the field. Panting and exhausted, the man was lying flat on the ground. Clap, 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 clap. Issei was clapping at the marvelous performance his peerage pieces put on for him. "Excellent, Arthur. Your already insane sword skills are improving amazingly," Issei praised the man, now known as Arthur. Oi pant Arthur pant, why did you pant go so hard pant on me? Arthur's opponent, who was on the ground, was completely out of breath. Your repeated obscene statements were slowly getting on my nerves. When we're sparring, you should take sparring seriously. Otherwise you won't improve at all. Arthur closed his eyes and pushed his glasses up. And that goes for you too, Kuroka. Naya? What did I do? Everyone, this is Irina. She is going to be the next member of the peerage. Irina, this is Vale, my pawn. This is Kuroka, my bishop. This is Fuyuki, my other bishop. This is Arthur, my knight. This is Biko, my rook. And of course, Tiamat, my queen, whom you have already met. Irina was frozen in place. Arthur bowed lightly before Irina. Biko flashed his eyebrows. Sup? Fuyuki waved cutely at Irina. Kuroka was mostly uninterested at first, but Irina's reaction made her chuckle. Tiamat and Valley had complicated expressions. So, Thessangelis going to be the next member of the peerage? A confused Valley asked Issei. Irina, I don't mean to be offensive or anything, but you have probably seen the extent of our sparring sessions, right? Tiamat asked Irina with a slightly stern look. Irina, still frozen in place, nodded slightly. You wouldn't stand a chance against us even if we're using less than half of our full power. You will be a liability. Vala finished Tiamat's sentence for her. Issei sighed and face palmed it there. Straightforward sentence. Fuyuki gave a stern look towards Tiamat and Valley. Hey, that's not how you talk to someone who will be a member of the peerage. We just told her the truth, that's all, Valley shrugged. Tiamat nodded her head signifying that she agrees with Valley. Fuyuki looked at the others for some backup. Arthur just stood there silently while Kuroka and Biko pretended that they were not interested at the conversation. She looked at Issei. Issei was having a hard time trying to comfort Irina. He knew that what the two said was true, but there were other ways of conveying that to her. Irina just looked down and had a dejected expression on her face. She knew all too well that she would not fit into this peerage. What they meant to say was based on your magic reserves alone, you might be a little bit weak compared to the rest of us. Fuyuki made a small space between her thumb and index finger and put it close to her eye. Irina sighed. It's fine, I know what they said was true. I don't belong here. She made a sad smile and shrugged. She turned back and walked away. Vishay. Irina. Issei started to go after her. But before he did, he turned back towards Vale and Tiamat. You two won't be sparring against me for the next month. He went after Irina after saying those lines. Both Vale and Tiamat were displeased for different reasons. Irina was outside the gate of the Vale mansion. She was sitting down on the ground and looking at the grass. Some sword user I am, she said to herself. Irina always thought that she was a pretty good sword wielder. Sure, Zenobia and Kiba were stronger than her, but she always thought that it was not by a lot. If she had a special weapon of herself, she could reach to the level of Zenobia and Kiba. But now, she just got a huge reality check. She was pathetically weak. The swordsmanship shown by Arthur was on a completely different level. He was leagues above Irina, and was also quite stronger than Zenobia and Kiba. Forget Arthur, I won't even be able to compete with Zenobia and Kiba. I'm sousless. Just as a tear was threatening to come out from Irina's eyes, a voice spoke from behind. Geez, you are so fast. Irina blinked a few times to get rid of any tears in her eyes and looked back. Aikun, what are you doing here? Shouldn't you be training with the rest of your peerage? Irina stood up and forced a smile, which Issei could see right through. Don't listen to them, Irina, they're just dash. Stating the truth, Irina didn't let Issei complete his sentence. And they're not wrong. I am pathetically weak. Neither is my sword skills good, nor is my angelic power. That's not true. You have plenty of things you are good at. Then name at least one of them, Aikun. Irina started to tear up slightly. Issei was speechless. Internally, he was astonished at himself for not being able to think of something that his childhood friend is good at. See? I am a failure, Ayasi-kun. Completest failure. Irina fell on her knees and burst into tears. Issei was completely at a loss for words. He felt like the worst friend ever, not being able to comfort his friend. But seeing her like this, he couldn't bear it. He needed to do everything he could for her. He sat on the ground close to Irina and hugged her. Irina felt Issei's warm embrace on her skin. Although it comforted her, she started sobbing even more into Issei's chest. Issei put his face on her head and started stroking her hair. Issei's gentle embrace and his hands gently stroking her head made her hug onto him really tight. After a while, Irina stopped sobbing. "Hey Irina?" Irina didn't reply but looked upwards towards Issei. "No matter what they think, I think you'll be the perfect knight for our peerage. Due to you being an angel, the usual holy magic that will be used against devils in the tournament will not be effective on our team. You will be able to cover most of the weaknesses of the team. You're not just a piece that I want, you're a piece I need." It looked like some light had returned to Irina's eyes. To be needed by Issei-kun. It doesn't matter how long it takes, Issei took Irina's hands. "I will make you one of the strongest knights there is, and the rest will realize how wrong they were in judging you." Issei's eyes were full of determination. This time, he will keep his word. He will make her one of, if not the strongest knight there ever was. Irina, on seeing Issei so determined, giggled. You never change, do you, Issei-kun?" "Ha, why does work have to be so tiring always?" The city of Kyoto was just going through a normal Monday. The streets were full of cars, the pedestrians were crowded on the sidewalks, lots of noise pollution everywhere, the usual stuff. Currently it was 4 p.m. This meant that everyone was going home for their lunch break. We have arrived at Kyoto Station. Next stop, Tokyo Skytree Station. An automated voice came out from the speakers of a train. Finally. A huge crowd of people got off the train. Many were on their phones, talking about either business-related stuff or were telling their families that they have arrived home. Most of the people were coming from Tokyo or Osaka, as most of the major companies are situated there. Such was the case for a certain black-haired girl who just got off of the train. She looked exhausted and stretched her hands and legs a bit after getting off of the train. "Phew, thank God that's over. Mondays are just the worst." The girl was sulking. Ring ring. Ring ring. Ring ring. The girl reached for the phone in her pocket. "Yuma, are you at the station?" A elderly woman's voice could be heard through the phone. "Yes, Oba-san, I'm at the station. I'll be home in like 15 minutes. "Okay, do be safe, dear." The girl took a deep sigh. "Taxi." "Yes, it's her." The girl who mercilessly took the life of Issei Hayadu on his first ever. Those who had been unlucky enough to encounter her could feel her evil intent from a mile away. Her heart as cold as ice, and her glare as sharp as a blade. Yuma Amano, aka Rainer. However, it seems like the aura around her has changed a bit. Although she's in her fallen angel mode, she's not really expelling any killing intent, nor is she targeting anyone. She just seems to be doing what anyone else at her age would be doing, somehow managing to survive in a large city like this. A yellow car stops in front of Rainer. "Where to, Oju-sama?" asked the driver of the car. "Knock knock." "Oba-san, I'm home." Rainer stood behind a door to an apartment. The hallway which she stood in had many such doors. The door opened revealing an elderly woman. She had dull silver hair, which is a characteristic of older people, but it had an odd shine of elegance to it. She had quite a steep slouch and needed a walking stick to be able to walk properly. She was wearing a traditional Japanese attire. "Took you long enough," the old woman said as she turned around to go back into the apartment. "Geez, not even a welcome home?" Rainer muttered, slightly annoyed. "You made the food go cold, how can you expect a warm welcome?" The old woman said nonchalantly. "Oba-san, I told you that I would be late today." Rainer childishly wriggled before going inside. The inside of the apartment was nothing special. There were 2 rooms, a dining room, kitchen, and a bedroom. Rainer suddenly felt overpowered as she entered the house. It almost felt like she was being suppressed by an external force of some sort. The feeling only lasted for a few seconds, but it still gave her a huge shock. What the hell was that? Why did I suddenly feel like I was being essayed into an endless hole of nothingness? She screamed internally. You coming in, dear? The old lady asked. Weiss Obasan. Just give me a minute. Rainier sat down on the groan with her hands on either side of her head. I've probably been overworking again. When's the last time I've slept? In it, I really need to find a new job. After a bit, Rainier got up and changed her dress. She was now wearing a bathrobe which somehow made her attributes look even more significant. Rainier sat down at the dinner table. There was already food on the table and it was soup. Rainier thanked for the food and started eating the soup. Ah, so, Yuma-chan, have you still not found a perfect match? The old lady snickered. Rainier spit out a mouthful of soup. Her face went redder than a tomato and she stuttered like a broken engine. What are you talking about, Obasan? Rainier literally couldn't get any more flustered. Fufufu, you know I'm joking, Yuma-chan. The old lady laughed. Rainier let out a deep sigh and closed her eyes. Besides, you already know that. Rainier's eyes got teary as she thought about that day. The old lady's cheerful face was erased in an instant and was replaced by a calm and collected. Yuma, you've told me many times that you've regretted your past actions. You've even suffered a lot due to them. Yet you still seem so sad. Rainier looked down at the soup. In the soup she saw a boy. The boy's smile was awkward. His teeth were out and he was rubbing the back of his head with his hand. Yet there was something quite charming about the boy. Alas, the reflection of the boy was gone, as a tear from Rainier's left eye fell on the soup. What I've done to him still haunts me till this day. Maybe if I was stronger, I could have rid myself of that wretched curse he put on me. Maybe I could have saved him from such a horrible fate. Maybe I could have helped him get stronger to fight against the evil. Maybe, Rainier rubbed her eyes, maybe we could have been together. The old lady closed her eyes. Yuma, your heart is pure. Sure, you did some heinous crimes in your past, but in my eyes, you're still an angel. Rainier took off her bathrobe, revealing her mature and stuffed body. But that wasn't the focus of the situation. It was her black, leathery wings. The left wing was all fine. The feathers were as majestic as of a raven, and the purple tinge on the feathers made them extremely pleasing to the eye. However, the right wing was all but beautiful. It was crooked like a branch which is about to fall off. The feathers were more like that of a rugged crow who's been inside a dumpster, searching for food. The difference between the two wings was like day and night. What kind of an angel betrays their true love? She wasn't able to control her tears. It all came out like water from a fountain. The old lady got up and went towards Rainier and hugged her. Unbeknownst to them, a figure was watching and listening to everything from outside while keeping themselves invisible. Tears were too shed by that figure. It was around the time when people usually go to bed. However, the streets of Kyoto was as busy as it was during the day. The shops were open. People were still crowded on the streets and the town was lit up by streetlights and the lights coming out in people's homes. In one apartment of a complex, we could see a black-haired beauty working on the computer. She was typing a document with quite a fast typing speed, all while still wearing a bathrobe. Yumin, you should go to sleep, you know, an old lady told the woman. Yes, Oba-san, right after I finish this document, said the woman, while still typing out the document. Okay, dear, but don't make it too late, said the old lady. An hour later, the woman, now known as Rainier, finished her document. Ha! Finally! Rainier took a big stretch. She saved the document, turned off her laptop and laid down on her futon. She turned off the reading light and went to bed. Say, Issei-kun, do you mind doing me a favor to commemorate our first date? Issei and Yuma's date was surely a special one. They visited all kinds of stores, bought all kinds of gifts and tasted all kinds of food. Right now, they were at the park, where Issei thinks he'll get laid. Issei looked completely perplexed. What kind of favor? He said in a stuttering yet hopeful voice. Could you die, please? Issei took a while to take in what Yuma said. What? Wait, Yuha? He was dumbfounded. Sorry, Yuma-chan. Can you repeat that? I think there's something wrong with my ears, he laughed awkwardly. Yuma, with her head down still, got closer to Issei. She stood on her toes as to reach Issei's ears. Could you Ack. Yuma fell down on her knees. Her eyes were shot open, as if she remembered everything that happened later on in her life. Yuma put her hands on her ears as if she's trying to prevent any sort of mind control spell to enter her. She was shaking her head vigorously. Not this again, please. Please. Don't make me go through this. Please. I don't want to relive this moment again. I don't want to kill you. I love you. I love you. She screamed. Then why did you kill me? For a second, Yuma felt as if she could hear nothing but that voice. She looked up, only to see the soulless face of her boyfriend. Issei. Today. Blood started bursting out of his abdomen as he fell on the ground. Yuma could only stare at Issei's dying body as she tried to take in what was going on. Issei! She screamed. She jumped towards his body and held his head. No. But. I never wanted to kill you. You were the best boyfriend anyone could ask for. Please. Come back. She shook Issei's head vigorously. You didn't want him dead. That voice. But I sure as hell did. Behind Yuma stood a 10-winged giant. A long black coat to complement his pale skin. Of course, who else could it be but her former boss? TSK, is that how you greet your former boss? I expected much more from you, Reiner. You have no right to say that name. Oh really? I need a license to utter a word now? Such a shame, guess I'm a criminal now www. Kokobile started laughing maniacally. The aura around Yuma changed. You ruined everything for me. Well, what to say, I have a knack for picking strong individuals as my disciples. If you didn't let your emotions cloud your mind, you would have been my best disciple. But alas, that wasn't possible. Welp, at least I had fun watching you kill the Security. Kokobile started laughing maniacally once more. HUTUPPP. A brilliant black and violet light engulfed Reiner. As the light started to fade, Reiner was seen in her fallen angel form. Although her skimpy outfit barely covered anything and revealed a rather estimaltian body, the first thing you would notice is her crooked right wing. The nasty aura coming out of that was suffocating to another degree. Rather than lusting over her brilliant body, you would find yourself running as far away as you could as to not be killed by that aura. Yes. This is exactly what I wanted. A truly worthy opponent. Ha ha ha. Kokobile could only stare in awe at the level of power Reiner is displaying. Ha ha. Before Kokobile could even attack, Reiner dashed into Kokobile and plunged a light spear into his abdomen. Reiner closed her eyes and clenched her fists. You ruined me, oh ruined my life, you ruined the life of everyone around me, you ruined everything. Those screams were fueled my anger, frustration, and regret. Maybe if she was slightly stronger. I just wanted to be a nice boyfriend. Reiner's eyes shot open. Kokobile no more stood before her. It was Issei and his dying body. Blood was gushing out from his abdomen as it was where Reiner impaled him. His body was full of scratches and scars and his clothes were torn in many places. But even then he wore that charming soft smile on his face. I still love you. Love you. Love you. Love you. Love you. Ack. Reiner awoke with a start. She looked at the clock. 6:45 a.m., it showed. Her body was a sweaty mess. The bathrobe she wore to bed was laying not too far from her futon. She must have thrown it away while sleeping. Reiner just sat there for a few minutes. Her eyes devoid of any emotion whatsoever. Just the usual, she thought. She has lost count of how many nightmares she's been through, all of which were similar to the one she just had. But this time, something was different. A single tear fell from her left eye. This time, it felt more real. It hurt her soul more. It felt even more devastating. No use worrying about this, she closed her eyes and whispered to herself. She got up and went about doing her morning routine. Brushed her teeth, took a bath, changed into her work attire, the usual. Just before she was about to eat her phone, she decided to take a look at her messages. Where did I keep my phone? She searched for her phone. As she was searching for her phone, the old lady came into her room. Yuma, you kept your phone at my room. Here it is, she said. Oh, Thank you, Oba-san, I nearly forgot. She thanked the lady. The old lady went out of the room to go prepare her breakfast. Rainier was just having some food she prepared in advance last night. Let's see my message dash. Rainier's whole body stopped functioning properly. Her hands trembled. Her blood pressure went up. She started blinking rapidly, as if to remove any dirt from her eyes. Rainier dropped her phone. 6:44 a.m. Kyoto Station Starbucks. 16. Don't be late. Hi, do we say? It was 4:50 p.m. in Kyoto right now. People were still traveling at this hour, so the station was really crowded. People were at every nook and corner of the station, either waiting for their train to arrive or they were shopping. In the midst of all these people, the focus was on one person. That person was wearing a dark violet blazer with a black t-shirt underneath. They wore a pair of jeans and a pair of sunglasses. Of course, it was Rainier, and she was heading towards the meetup location. Hello, I would like a cappuccino, please. Okay, ma'am, please wait for a few minutes. Rainier looked as professional as she always was during work. However, on the inside, she was trembling. Why did she agree to this? What made her actually come to the location? Why does she not want to go back? Lots of questions and no answers. Her blood pressure was at an all-time high. She was finally going to meet him again. But how does he know that she's alive? He saw her perish in front of his eyes, right? Maybe he didn't. Maybe he saw how she got out. Even if he did, how did he know her number? How have I never thought about all of this before this moment? She screamed internally. She was too caught up in the fact that he had asked to meet with her. So she didn't even think about any of this. But even after that, the questions kept on popping into her head. So he found Udi's this for revenge? Is she going to die today? Is she going to die the way she was supposed to? And if she is going to die, why was she not even concerned about her death? Why is she more concerned about the guy she is meeting today rather than her death? Ma'am, your coffee. Why is the person she killed ruthlessly more important to her than her own life? Ma'am? What is wrong with her? Hello? Rainier was seemingly brought out of her trance. She shook her head a little bit and looked towards the counter. The barista had her coffee in his hands. Oh, sorry. Thank you very much. Don't worry, ma'am. That would be 120 yen, please. Sure. Rainier paid for her coffee and went to a seat near the stall. She decided to not worry about it for now and focus on drinking her coffee. For some time, she was sitting peacefully, sipping away at her coffee. Home. A suffocative aura suddenly surrounded Rainier. She looked at her watch. 5 p.m. Suddenly, her head was clouded with negative thoughts. What is she doing? Why is she still there? Is she longing for her death? She wanted to go back. She wanted to go home. She wanted to go to anywhere else but this place. But she couldn't. No one had used any sort of magic on her, but she couldn't make herself move. Her brain told her to escape while she could, but her heart told her to stay. Her brain was thinking logically. Her heart was thinking emotionally. And in the end, her emotions overtook her brain. She won't betray anyone. Not again. The suffocative aura seemed to have died out. She felt at ease again. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Come on, Rainier, you will be fine. He only wanted to meet up. Meet up is just another word for Ke. It's just a meet up. Just a meet up. Just as she finished her positive thought, she let out all the air she didn't know she was holding in. Her body relaxed once more and she opened her eyes. The suffocative aura returned and was not at its worst. She actually felt like she was being tortured by this aura. As if the aura was trying to pull her insides out. And this was because it was there. Right before her. Sitting on the seat opposite to her. He was there. The Red Dragon Emperor. The Pawn of Gremory.